All right, we are back home. We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Scott Oster is with us. How are you, dude?
Doing great.
Dude, thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate it. It's going to be a fun-filled episode, I could already tell.
Yeah, feels good to hear the special.
How's it going, dude? Everything good in your world?
Yeah,
so far?
everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Nice.
Yeah, life is good.
We it's interesting because like I always look forward to these episodes because like, you know, what year did you start skating? Like as a youngster?
I first got a skateboard when I was 6, so that would have been 1976.
Okay. Well, like, when do you think you did your first trick? Hard to, because I feel like that's when you first start skating. Like, I had a board my whole life, but I don't think, when I first started to do a trick was like when I was 15.
Right. Well, tricks back then were like,
wheelie.
Doing a tic-tac or a 180, you know, so... God, it was probably, shortly after 6 or 7, like being able to do a 180.
Okay.
Or jumping off the curb. I don't know if that's a trick, but back then there wasn't
wasn't many tricks.
There wasn't things going on.
Right.
Where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Westchester and played El Rey.
Oh, okay. That was
very
close.
I did want to ask you a question. You were born in Inglewood.
I was born in Inglewood, yeah.
Were you born at Daniel Freeman Hospital?
I
was born at Daniel Freeman Hospital, too. Yeah, same with Daniel Castillo.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got something in common.
Look at that.
Yeah.
3 of us. We could have been switched at birth, dude. We don't know. No, but I love that, Daniel Freeman Hospital. But growing up on the west side must have been awesome during that time as well. I mean, did you go down to the Venice?
I didn't start going down to Venice till I was 14.
Okay.
That's when I kind of got introduced to that world.
Nice.
14, 15 years old. Well, let's see. When I was 15, I ran away from home because I was getting to that age where I was starting to I was hanging out with older guys and
Rebelling.
getting home late, and my dad was trying to set some rules that was just too late to try to put into place.
Uh-oh.
So, he said, if you want to live here, these are the rules, or, And so I was like, well, I'm out.
At 15?
At 15. I mean, funny because me and my dad actually had a great relationship after that. I ended up moving back home after about a year. But, I spent a year out of the house.
Really?
Sleeping
at 15?
on the couch.
At your buddy's house or something?
At my friend's house, yep. A guy named Mark Vicelli.
Huh.
And he was really influential on my skating at that time because he was friends with Jay Adams.
Okay.
And from punk rock days. And he introduced me to Jay. And, Jay was probably one of the bigger influences for me in skating. And then I was hanging out with Aaron Murray. And Murray grew up with Christian. Mm-hmm, so Murray introduced me to Christian. And so before I was even sponsored, I was, hanging out with Jay and skating with Christian.
You were already in the circle at what age? 15?
15.
Really?
Yeah. It all happened in that year. And that year is when I got sponsored by Dogtown, too.
While you were on your buddy's couch? Or no, you went back?
No. While I was on the couch.
When you run away from home and stuff and you're at your buddy's house, did your parents know where you are? It's not like you're just like, maybe you're at like a longer sleepover.
My mom did.
Okay.
My dad, I didn't talk to my dad for about a year. I didn't see him or talk to him for a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom knew I was okay. I would see her occasionally.
Okay.
But, I would get food from, the girls that were working at the sandwich spot or the pizza spot. They would like get me food, or a friend of mine worked at the market and he'd be like, stuffed up down your pants. And
you made it work.
Really? Damn. But you said you had a better relationship with your dad after that.
Oh yeah. When I came back home, I basically, I ran into him at the beach. He was picking up my sister. Literally ran into him almost. And, we started talking. At first he didn't see me and I wasn't even going to say hello to him, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go up there and I say hello to him, and we're talking, and he asked me if I wanted to come back home, and we had dinner together, and I basically just broke it down. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to go to school much longer. I smoke weed. I come home whenever I want to come home.
Yeah.
And if you're cool with that, because that's what I'm doing now, then I'll come back. And he's like, okay.
Really?
Wow. So then after that, we just had a real cool, almost like friend relationship.
Huh. Were you like when you moved back in? Were you smoking weed at home, or were you
Yeah.
just like yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
In the room, we're just
in the
not even
room.
blowing it through a little tube with the air freshener.
I would close my door, but yeah.
What do you think about the skateboarding?
Oh man, my kids are gonna hear this. Too.
Hey, it's legal now. It's legal. It's like going and buying a beer.
What do you think about the skateboarding?
What about it?
Your dad. What do you think about skating?
I mean, he didn't really know anything about it. He was German, right? So I mean, he didn't grow up with any of that. You know, that's the thing that was kind of amazing about those times. Like we found it. It was our passion. It wasn't our dads showing us or anything. It was like we either just gravitated towards it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said you got sponsored while you were on the couch at around 15. How did that all happen? Like, I mean, I know you were hanging around this area. You're already friends with these guys. It's just about.
So we started skating at the pavilion. There would be these like janky ramps inside the pavilion. And we would go down there and skate. And, you know, it was a real intimidating kind of scene down there back then in 85. It was, you know, it was, you know, very different. And, you know, you go down there and you just kind of show and prove and try to like, you know, make a statement with whatever. And back then it wasn't so many tricks. So, you know, I was always a surfer. So like I just slashed, which, you know, kind of I made a whole career on it. But, you know, I just tried to do it harder than anyone else was doing it.
It worked.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
You're talking about like putting they had like the jump ramp up against the wall.
Yeah.
Or like stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a little later. But the
later.
quarter pipes was, you know, I was really influenced by Jay, the way Jay skated. He did a lot of these like kind of under the lip grab rail snaps that I emulated and then kind of made it my own. And then Hackett's frontside slash was how I kind of came up with my frontside slash. I was like, you know, I kind of want to do it like that. And Christian too.
No pools yet. This is just strictly like Venice Pavilion, or were you dabbling in the pools?
Well, I learned how to skate, like properly skate, at the Marina Skate Park.
Oh yeah.
That's where I learned how to skate pools and transition. And it was one summer where my mom would drop me off there like a daycare, just drop me off there when they opened and pick me up when the sun went down. And so...
Is this later, or is this around the time? This is the Venice Pavilion we're watching.
That's a little later. That's probably, I'd say that's probably 87, 88.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we used to like have another jump ramp on the other side. Look, there's a swastika.
There it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, there used to be this other ramp on the other side. So we'd do these long lip slides and then enter on the other, almost like it was a spine. But yeah, that was about 87. Yeah.
It's so sick. They're using like the top of the wall as a lip.
Yeah.
Like there's like a little bit of like where the ramp doesn't go quick,
Yeah.
like right up to it.
Yeah, they got
Before we had a quarter pipe like that, we used to do a jump ramp on that wall. And then we would wall ride and then frontside grind or try to do something off the side of it.
Yeah.
I think I had a photo in Juice like that or something.
Huh. So Marina Skate Park was your local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went to a private French school growing up. So from 1st to 7th grade, even though I lived in this neighborhood, you know, I was going to a school on the other side. I was like, you know, the kid from the other side of the tracks almost going to this school I went to.
Oh, right, really?
So it was called the Lycée. And so I went to that school, and, you know, it's like suit and tie and that whole kind
Proper.
of thing. So in my neighborhood, I knew the kids in my neighborhood, but I didn't have like that community of friends that you would normally have growing up.
Yeah.
They were like in, you know, I don't know, Beverly Hills or, you know, wherever like that. So
Throughout your whole schooling, you went to that?
from 1st to 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so in the summer times, you know, I would be kind of like a lone wolf kid, you know, just kind of skating in my neighborhood. I had a couple friends, and what happened was my mom, I found this out later, but this kid that I had befriended, who was probably 4 or 5 years older than me, he took me to the skate park, and I used to hang out with him. But I didn't realize that my mom was actually paying him to be like my babysitter.
No way.
Yeah, he's also the first person to get me high and all that kind of shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great hire.
He was like in a Led Zeppelin cover band, and, you know.
No way.
But but he took me to Marina.
Okay.
And so, you know, the first day it's like, can I get over the speaker? Because they had speakers in the pool. And so it was like getting over the speaker. Then can you touch tiles? And, you know, so, and I picked it up pretty quickly. And so, yeah, I just spent the summer there just skating every day. And, you know, I'd see Christian and Pat Noho and
Olson.
Jay and all those guys way before I knew them. And, you know, I would just stay in the Brown Bowls is where I kind of lived most of the time. And then they had this back keyhole that was great.
I wish they had like I've never seen like an overhead view of the Marina Park, because I know it was like where the freeway is now and the 90.
Yeah.
But I wish I knew exactly how
So
it was like formulated.
it had a parking lot in the front, a building, and then you walk through it. It's like, the skate shop, pinball machines. Like the sound of that place is just so like, it had that like pinball sound, Space Invaders and
Seriously?
asteroids. Where, like, that was like the soundtrack of walking through the beginning of Marina.
You know where the garden center thing is? The Flora garden thing? Where is it in relate? Like,
So you have that triangle, right?
Yeah.
Like that. You have the building here. Up the whole side was this snake run with a big kind of bowl thing at the end of it.
okay.
And then you had, when you walked in, you had the front keyhole, which is this big, deep bowl that had this little quarter pipe, half pipe that you could skate. That was not that skatable. It was too deep and not really that great. And next to that, you had the dog bowl, which the dog bowl actually was not the best pool. The back keyhole, I thought, was the best pool. The dog bowl had a kinked side where the hip was.
Okay.
But it had a fun shallow end. The shallow end was great in that. So I learned a lot of tricks in that shallow end. And then you had that freestyle area over there. Mm-hmm. And then if you went further up, there was these clay bowls, these 2 clay bowls that were great.
Because they used to do like slalom there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had this big whale bowl. It was another big clay bowl, but it was just this deep, big thing that rarely got skated. And at the top, you had the keyhole, which was probably the best pool to skate, really, the keyhole.
When did this get taken down?
80, 81.
Wow.
And then there was a year or two where you had the turning point there. You had this capsule that was this plexiglass capsule that they had over by the by that kind of flat area or that one area.
That's crazy that it opened in what?
It's at
1978
Yeah.
and it closed in 81. That is insane.
I think
How
the first time I went there was 79. I think I got about a year and a half worth of skating in that place before it closed.
Because there weren't very many local parks like this, were there?
Not here.
Yeah.
No.
You'd have to go to like
No.
Upland or...
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
why did it close?
I think
the property,
the insurance and the liability and all that. I think.
But you said there was a freeway.
Yeah.
that
Well,
was being built as
the
well.
on ramp, it was over here, and then the off ramp is on the other side of where that wood fence is.
so it's like in the
It's like right in the
middle
middle,
of the
yeah.
two.
Yeah.
yeah. I would just wish I had like because it's more like long than wide.
Yeah, it was kind of a triangle. So it was widest when you walked in, and then it kind of went up, and the very top was the back keyhole.
I drive up the 90 almost every day, and I'm
Yeah.
like, there's so much land there, and I'm like, damn, if they just redid, like it's perfect for a skate park.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's even weird. You don't even realize that garden is even there almost.
yeah,
It's kind of like it looks like nothing's really
kind of like
going.
meshes in with all
Yeah.
the shrubbery and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, my first skate contest was in the dog bowl.
How'd you
One
do?
of those, I think it was Aspo. I think is what it was. Was that, I think, before Castle Aspo, I think.
Oh, wow.
American skate
Yeah, I got first place.
first place.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nice.
I mean, I was able to roll in. I could do a fakie rock, like a fakie slide rock, and we used to have these things on the back of our truck that almost would like anti-hang up thing.
Yeah.
So back then you could
What's it
do a
called?
disaster or like just a fakie disaster and come in without hanging up.
Just roll back.
yeah, so I
need
couldn't
that
do
now.
I couldn't do much, but I could do those things. I could roll in, I could do that, and I didn't know how to do inverts, but I could kind of fake them. And so a lot of the kids that I was skating against could barely hit tiles. Like, oh, I got this. And I think there was what's his name, Dave Andrecht, and a guy named what's his name, Steve Hirsch. Is that right, or Hirsch or? Anyways, there's a couple pros judging, right? So I'm like kind of amped and psyched, and I do my little thing, and then I come back out, and then I just go to do an invert. And I think just with all the excitement, I got my hand on coping. I never did it before. I like just got upside down and just bailed.
Oh, you
just
bailed.
to show that like I'm going for it.
Right. And
Yeah.
you won.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
First contest,
Yeah.
and it was all.
And then I
that's where it all
didn't skate a
began.
contest till 1985 after that. Yeah.
Why?
I think the park closed not too long after that. And then I got really into surfing.
Okay.
And then the skateboard kind of became more like just, the occasional thing. I wasn't really looking around to skate as much as I was really into surfing at that time in my life.
But were you already sponsored at this point? Or is it
No.
before you were sponsored?
Before I was
So this is
sponsored.
when you were like, okay, before 15, before you
Yeah.
ran out of the house.
the way I got sponsored was Kelly Jackson. Kelly Jackson's really, he pretty much, put the team together, or helped Muir put the team together. So we were hanging down in Venice, and Kelly said, you should meet Muir, and, you should be on Dogtown. I was like, yeah. I grew up, Dogtown was like, to me, like the epitome of like the company that I'd want to skate for, the guys that I really looked up to.
Local also.
Yeah, they're all local,
yeah.
right? I mean, obviously Powell and Sims were, huge, great teams as well, but those guys I saw more often.
Right.
And me and Murray and my friend Mark Vicelli, we would go to ET Surfboards and get blanks, cut our own boards out, and write Dogtown murals on the bottom of our boards before we were sponsored.
That's really?
Yeah. I mean, Murray's actually a really good artist. So is my friend Mark. And they would, draw these really rad graphics, and we would rock Dogtown boards before we were even sponsored by them.
See how you wished it into position that happens. So randomly.
Would you write your name on there too?
No.
Like you were no, you wouldn't.
No.
Little pro model board. Yeah. I would have done that.
But yeah, I met Muir, and he saw me skating in the pavilion. He's like, "All right, yeah, Oster, you're cool. Yeah, you can, we'll sponsor you."
That was it.
And then I was hanging with Murray all the time back then, and Murray was better than I was. I mean, Aaron Murray, I don't think people really know how good Murray was at a certain point in time, especially of the jump ramp era. He was as good as any of them.
His name stood out, for me.
You had Jesse Martinez.
Oh, yeah.
You had Christian, you had Gons, and, Murray was blasting as high and far as all of them. And like that kind of nose bone, that tweak that Gons would do, what is it called? Where you kick your tail out. And,
yeah. I know
what is it called? Not a nose bone,
that.
but like a, what is that called?
What is it, like a crail slide or something?
It's a front side. You come up front side and then you tweak your tail back like that.
Yeah, but there is a specific name for it.
What is that called?
I don't know. I'm blanking.
Be like,
Come on, guys, help me out.
Huh.
Anyways, Murray did those. Gons did some of the best ones, and Murray was just right there with him.
Yeah.
He just looked more like Bruce Lee
when he did
it.
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron, before my time, obviously, but I think like Aaron Fingers Murray, he got known for like the fingers part.
Yeah. How many people get 2 fingers cut off in one lifetime?
It's insane. Were you there when any of that happened, or?
The day he lost his pinky, I wasn't there that day, but I remember them going to skate, and for whatever reason, I didn't go.
Oh.
And then I just got the news, that, I don't know if he was doing a layback or a backside tail thing, but
It's a ring, right?
pinky ring got stuck on the coping. He came back in and like it stuck, and he hung for a second, and then it just popped out and pulled the tendon all the way out.
God damn.
It's so random, bro.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, don't wear your rings, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
And then the other one, what did he lose his other one? Like the
Wood
same-
shop.
Wood shop. Oh, okay.
Yep, wood shop.
Damn.
Yep, and then Muir started calling him Fingers.
Aaron Fingers
It's
Murray.
stuck.
Yeah.
It's stuck.
So you'd skate with him a lot.
Yeah.
Would you skate with, what about Jesse Martinez? Was he around?
For sure.
Yeah.
Jesse was, he was the kind of enforcer, person down at the beach that, just held it down. And
Yeah.
he was
yeah.
the man.
Yeah.
At that time,
Jesse was,
for sure.
Jesse just, and he was super cutting edge at the time. Like, his methods were the best methods around back then. And his wall rides and his hand plants and, that was the first time I really saw a lot of that stuff.
Oh.
Was
when I
Julian
came-
Stranger kind of creeping around at that
Oh
time?
yeah,
too?
Julian for sure. Julian was totally part of that.
Definitely. Yeah.
And what was rad about Julian is, he ended up moving to San Francisco, so he would come back with all sorts of new tricks or things that he was doing that we weren't seeing, that we weren't really checking on. And so like he's doing frontside board slides on these like those benches that they made for the '84 Olympics that used to be all on the boardwalk. I don't know if they're still there. But he was doing frontside board slides. Like, what?
Yeah.
Really? And were you like doing stuff that he would bring back to SF, or was he mostly bringing stuff down?
I think he was bringing more down. It's hard to
Okay.
say, because during that time, so much of the stuff we were doing never really got documented besides on film. On
Right.
photographs,
Yeah.
right? So you don't really see any live action of
Yeah.
what we were doing on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a time in Venice that a lot of the wall stuff we were doing was pretty innovative, and we weren't seeing it done anywhere else.
For sure. I remember Tim Jackson had some bag of tricks.
Tim was by far the most innovative
Yeah.
with what he did on walls. I mean, he's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely stood out for me,
Yep.
especially at that time going there fairly early and just seeing him, he stood out to me.
Yeah, he did. He had a whole different way of skating.
Yeah.
Whole different way.
This Tim Jackson.
Yeah.
Risk it.
Yeah, look at that.
Tim,
Jump up there,
and
dumb
Tim was
easy.
also one of them forces on down at the boardwalk.
Right.
Like, you step out of line, or if you were like a rollerblader, or if you were like something like that,
Look
he
at that,
was
dude.
he let
gnarly.
you
You
know.
see how he
Dude.
jumped up on that thing?
Let's
Crazy,
see.
bro.
That was
Yeah.
dope.
It's crazy. Like nobody ever. I mean, he totally
Look at
unique
that.
to him.
That is crazy. Hold on.
Pop
Sorry,
up there,
I
dumb
rewound
easy,
it too
dude.
much. I rewound it too much. We got to watch this again.
Legend, bro.
Wait. I got to get a good slow-mo. Dude, you just wall rid up. Did a...
Tail
Damn near
side transfer.
yeah.
Dude, that
Back blind.
was gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he had a very specific way of skating, but it was so uniquely his.
Yeah.
Right.
You got one sock up, one sock down.
He was like good at it too.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's amazing.
Oh shit! That
But Timmy, he struggled with drugs back then. And he would be in and out of prison and different stuff like that. So I think that probably an effect on his skate trajectory.
Sure. There's a right there. Look at that.
it's on the freaking
right there
right
by
there.
a great
Windward.
white.
Yeah.
It's so rad to watch footage like that. It's funny because I grew up around here. I live
Yep.
here. We were right down the street from where all this took place, and you kind of forget sometimes. You kind of forget. You take it for granted, and then you watch videos like this. You're like, wow, this is where it all went down.
Yeah.
Right, like a block away.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had Venice, you had San Francisco,
Yep.
and you had San Diego County area. With everything going on there. Those were like the pretty much.
But
the
I mean,
main
what was
areas.
really going on in San Diego? What was
More
the-
vert, I
Yeah,
guess,
Okay,
or-
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
More
it for
vert.
sure.
I guess, but for the street, for a lot of that stuff, it was really Venice and San Francisco.
Yeah,
All day.
right.
And I mean, Nadas, did so much back then. But Nadas was funny. He would come around a little bit, but he didn't really skate with us all that much. I think he was just staying on 3rd Street and down on his block and doing his things.
Yeah.
and coming up with all his stuff he was doing on his own.
I know, but then you watch his video part, you're like, whoa, what the hell is this dude doing?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like psycho.
He was ahead of his game.
Yeah, I mean, he's the first person I saw ollie up a picnic table.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, oh shit, I
What was it,
gotta learn how to ollie up a picnic table now.
What was it, Speed Freaks?
This is where we're at, huh?
Was it
I don't know
Speed
which one
Freaks
that
or
was.
what video was that? God, I'm blanking it, dude, with the Nadas.
Well,
Streets
Speed
of
Freaks
Fire?
is definitely
Streets of Fire,
Streets
maybe?
of Fire. One of
For
the
sure.
Speed Freaks ones for sure with Nadas. Just that one video. I think is that the one where he does like the ollie off the jump ramp to rail slide on like a Jeep or a truck roll
I
bar.
think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that Speed Freaks?
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, people were not doing that shit at that time.
No. I think most of my career I was just trying to keep up. I would see what they would do and I'd be like, okay. Or like when rails came in, I was like, oh shit, I guess I got to learn how to get down a rail now.
Yeah.
There
It
was
changed
that.
up so many different ways.
Yeah. I kind of slashed my way for quite a while and then just, incorporated some tech and some things as I went. I mean, thank God for Ben Schroeder. He probably kept my career going for a while because when he got sponsored by Dogtown, Mira's like, oh, you got to skate with this dude we just sponsored and go check out his mini ramp. So we go to Schroeder's ramp. I think it was his brother's house or whatever, their family house. And then just seeing Schroeder skate, I was like blown away.
Yeah.
And just all his lip trick variations and just with speed and power. I was just so inspired by that. I was like,
Right.
So then I learned a lot of those lip tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely something that helped me stay relevant for a while.
For a bit.
Yeah.
But you also had you also had style though.
Yeah.
Like
for
you were
sure.
working with
I
you
leaned
were
a lot
working
on
with the
that.
style.
Yeah. That was something that, where we grew up was something that was definitely stressed
Yeah.
quite a bit,
But it's not like you tried. You already had style.
Well, it was just the people that I was influenced by,
Yeah.
right?
And
so-
surfing.
Yeah, and surfing.
Right.
So, those type of things, like we Muir would say, dude, you can't grab stink bug. You can't grab stink bug. So it was always kind of like knees tucked in a little bit more. Just surf style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool because like, wasn't there, I guess a lot of the skaters back then surfed and skated. It was kind of like the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, bit. I feel like when I started growing up, there was kind of a division. There was like kind of that division in the skate surf in the 90s.
There were certain skaters that were able to really combine the two. Like someone like Jay, he could surf as good as he could skate.
Yeah.
And he would do things in the water that he did, on both. And there weren't a lot that could do that. I mean, Chris Miller's another one that's like that.
Were there opportunities
I was like
in surf?
that.
Were there opportunities in surf at that time?
Yeah, I actually got sponsored surfing before I got sponsored skating.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, actually, there's a guy named Dennis Jarvis. He had a company called Spider Surfboards. And I was about 12 years old, and he started giving me boards or flowing me boards for, cost or whatever it was back then.
Wow.
I entered a couple contests doing that. And and then I don't know what happened, why that stopped. But I kept surfing though.
Right.
Until 85 when Dogtown came out, and then the trajectory went that way.
That was it.
But if I had my choice, I probably would have gone down the surf road if that door had opened.
You could have been on a whole different podcast right now. Crazy.
But
Where
then
were you surfing
I
most?
kind of surfed my way through my career.
Yeah.
Where were you surfing most? Is this out here in Venice too?
Well, where I grew up in Westchester and Playa del Rey, we had a couple jetties out in front of where we lived. One called Gillis and one called Dockweiler. So those are the places that we in a place called Toes Beach, and that's where we would surf a lot, or El Porto, and then occasionally go down to like Trestles or Newport or to Malibu. But that was our local spot.
When you first got on Dogtown, you said that was 85?
85.
Huh. And at 85, I'm just trying to think because like you eventually, I mean, we could talk more about it, but I find it interesting how like some skaters, like vert dies and then the 90s come around, but you kept like, you transferred into like streets. You started street skating, went into like the bowls, the pools.
Right.
Vert? Not really?
Not really.
Not
I mean, I
really.
could skate vert, but I was, I guess, like a pool skater.
Yeah.
So when skating died and I got back into skating, we were either looking for ramps to skate or backyard pools.
Right.
Or we would go to Kenner or Paul Revere and ride those banks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did. And then I think the first Bones Brigade video is when I watched, Lance, I love Lance. And he, just the way he kind of goofed off in that video and made like skating on the street fun.
Right.
And he's like in mid-Wilshire skating those like tiled banks and
yeah.
jumping off of roofs and, just what he's doing, it just looks super fun to me. And then Cab doing bonelesses. I never saw a boneless before. I was like, that's rad.
Crazy.
Yeah. So watching that first Bones Brigade video was really inspiring for me and like what's possible on the street.
Right.
And just having fun, just skating down the street.
Huh.
I'd have to second that for sure. Definitely at that time.
Yeah.
It was a video that was not serious. It was definitely just a fun-filled video and that. And
Yeah. And then he's like throwing his board over a fence and skating a backyard pool and then skating a little bank and fucking around.
It was put together well, I think, at that time.
Well, you
definitely
got to
got my
give it to
attention.
Stacy. I mean, Stacy has such a big imprint on, the development of skateboarding.
Definitely at that stage, for sure.
Why? Yeah. I mean, I feel like vert. Well, back then it's like you were already hanging out with Hosoi. You were hanging out with certain people like that, and Hosoi definitely like went the vert route as well. And how come you didn't? Like,
I wasn't good enough.
Really? I mean, you were ripping the pools. I feel like that's just a step
I never
up,
could
no?
really blast big airs on a half pipe. Maybe I got the best I ever got was like maybe waist high or maybe a chest high method. And,
Okay.
That's even later.
Right.
So in street, I felt like I could surf my way through it and get technical enough to still kind of be able to, be, like I said, staying somewhat relevant.
Right.
But I felt like I was always just trying to make sure I kept up with what was happening, like what Gons or Nadas or different people were doing. I was like, okay, now we got to do that.
Right.
I remember the first time doing a rail was when they used to do the trade shows at Long Beach. And I don't know if there was these sets of rails that were like 5 or 6 of them. It was all like brick. It was maybe like a 5-step rail.
White rail, probably like.
But it was kind of rad, and I'm surprised that no one ever did. Maybe someone did do a video part, I don't know. But you could do like 5 of these in a row. Like you could hit one, slide down, go a little bit further, hit another one, go, hit another one. And I remember just coming to that first one going, man, how much I just got to ollie and get my board to it, you know, and just get over that fear. And yeah, you know, I did that, and you know, I was like, okay, I got it. Like, and then, you know, soon after that, people are doing what I'm doing, but they're doing times backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was called switch then. It was just like, oh shit, they just did that backwards, or they just did a kickflip, or they did, you know. I think that was also the end of my careers. I never got good at kickflips.
Really?
Never got them down. I tried, and I just like, it was such a setup for me to do one. I mean, just like, you know, feet close together, foot over the side, and you know. Yeah, I never got. I think that was what really was like where I just like, I can't go any further because I just couldn't progress to the kickflip era. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's certain eras that come in that kind of like close a chapter in some skateboarders' careers, like Switch.
Oh yeah, I think Tim Gavin's been very vocal about that. He's like, as soon as Switch started getting into play, I was like, he's like, I tried, but he's like, I had to let it go then.
Yeah,
that was his turning point.
Yeah, I could go fakey, you know, or I could do stuff backwards. But when it started to be like you didn't even know which way they were going, and they're doing what I'm doing, but back, you know, switch.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so funny because like we want to try to keep up with the Joneses so much in skateboarding, but you really don't have to. Like skateboarding is such like your own whatever you want to do with it, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And like back then, you could have just kept doing what you're doing and not cared about the kickflips and not.
Well, not if you want to be sponsored and still make money and be.
Yeah, but do you think that you like they would have just kicked you off if you didn't learn?
Or they kind of did.
Yeah, for sure they would.
They kind of did.
Yeah, but you got the style. You got the.
That can only go so far.
I'm just saying.
How many G turns can I do?
That's what I was about to say.
You know what I mean?
G turns on lock.
It's
Savannah,
funny because
1, 2, 3. You know, come on.
Don't you remember? They're like,
you know, there was a variation. I would do a shove it into one or grab differently or something, but you know, I mean, I you know, pun intended, I rode that one into the ground. Last 15-20 seconds of a run, it was G-turn time.
But they were like retiring people at like 21 back then.
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, I got the cover of doing a G-turn, so I'm having the cover and then being that like my signature end of my run for years. You know, I think it just got a little old.
What was the cover of Thrasher?
Yeah.
See if we can find that, dude.
Yeah, pull that thing up, please.
What year was that, do you think? Year, month, issue, number?
I think it was before I had my own board, so that had to have been like 88, 87. I don't know.
Okay.
Wow,
what year did you turn pro?
When I was 17 or 18.
17, 18?
Yep.
What year would that be?
87 or 88.
87, 88.
So yeah, it's simple for me to do that because I was born in the end of 69. So it's really simple for like in 88, I was 18 for most of the year. So yeah, I can really kind of figure out where I was at different times.
Dude, hold on.
Here
Is
we
this
go.
it right here?
That's Christian.
That's
me.
Not,
Is
is
it?
it?
That's me.
Oh, that's the one.
See
Yeah.
if we could open it up in a good. Yeah, there we go.
So sick.
Wow. Who shot that photo?
Chuck Katz.
And what did you do? Did you say, "Look at me"? Like, how did that work right
To
there?
be honest, we were actually shooting something else. We were shooting a jump ramp to wall where I was doing these frontside wall rides.
Okay.
And I think he was just like changing film on his camera. And I just started doing these G-turns but right then is when I started kind of dialing those in.
Damn, he got low with
And
that
then,
shot.
and then he just said, you know, do a couple more of those, and just took some photos. And then, you know, next thing you know, Mira's like, Oster, you got the cover.
That's a memorable shot.
Really?
Right.
So yeah, this is not, you know, set up in any way besides, you know,
Like lean forward on your.
Yeah, look at me, look at me. Put the glasses on.
changing film in the camera, and I
So
started
good.
doing that by him, and he just like, oh, do some more of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that, dude. I need to see that in motion.
Dude,
Yeah. And you got the shirt on too? You got the Thrasher
Oh,
shirt?
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
are you wearing Converse?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Chucks?
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, back then we, you know, Thrasher really embraced Venice and Dogtown and really wanted us to have some representation in their magazine every month. So
Sick.
even as a amateur, we were getting in the mags almost every month. We got like more coverage than a lot of pros did.
Wow.
You know, so I mean, yeah, it was cool for us. I mean, you know, yeah, we got a lot of photos back then.
Yeah, it wasn't just in the city. As far as like, they definitely spread the love. In that
Yeah,
sense.
they definitely wanted Dogtown and that Venice kind of energy and attitude and style to be part of the magazine.
It's very important.
Where is this? Is this in Santa Monica or
No,
something?
that's in Culver City,
Culver
actually.
City. What
This
parking
kid
lot?
had a ramp. I forget his name. Off the 90 freeway, you could see it. And then they would just set up these little ramps. These kids that just had ramps, and we would just go and skate them.
Oh, so this isn't somebody's house?
No, this is like a dead end. This is like a...
Oh, in the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, look at look how your knees almost scraping the ground.
Fully tucked.
That is insane.
Not many people could do that. That's for sure.
Well, you know, it's funny. I couldn't do that in the air very well. Like jump wrap days, like, you know, JT would do like an air like that, and Christian would do an air like that. And I tried to do them, and I wasn't the best jump ramper. I was okay, but it wasn't where I shined. But yeah.
What was your favorite thing to skate? Like backyard pools, or what was your favorite?
Pools, ditches, things like that.
I mean, in LA though, there's not too many ditches. It's like
No. Just anything that I could kind of emulate surfing, right? For me, really, surfing was at the core of like the way I looked at skateboarding.
You were still surfing though?
Yeah,
right?
I was surfing a lot back then.
Okay, right. Were a lot of other skaters surfing? Would you all go out and
So, like
get
some of the
sessions?
Venice crew that we all hung out with would.
Okay.
You know, Murray surfed, obviously Jay surfed, and then just others like Venice locals that were down there surfed.
Dude, what was it like? Were you just guys renegades running around Venice, just doing your thing? Like,
I mean, pretty much.
Just trying to say, was it like the movie Thrashing?
Well, it's funny, yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was
To a degree, right?
To a degree.
Yeah.
You know, there was two real hubs of meeting points. It was either Block's house on Horizon, or a guy named Jimbo's house on San Juan in the hood.
oh yeah, San
Which
Juan.
back then used to be called Ghost Town, not Oakwood.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, and you got to be careful on the blocks you go to. You go to 6th and Brooks back in those days, and it was, you know, don't be wearing any red. And, you know, it was just different.
The colors would have an effect.
for sure. And you guys would.
So it was more like a combination of Thrasher, colors, you know, a little bit of, you know, I don't know, Boys in the Hood, but we had all those elements, right?
Totally.
Because it was the Venice Breakwater locals, which was the kind of crew that I ran with and hung out with down at the boardwalk. And then you had Shoreline Crips and you had V13.
Right.
But they all were kind of hanging out together. And then you had like the hippie kind of artist and, you know, all the little cute hippie girls rolling around on their skates, you know, roller skates, you know, hanging out. And
Would you have run-ins with any? Because are you like going to the like, you know, San Juan, and are you going to these streets like just skating? Or are you driving there, parking, and getting out? Or
we're skating, we're driving, but you know, we would go straight down San Juan. I wouldn't go right and go down Brooks.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
unless I had to, but yeah, probably wouldn't go alone back then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But no run-ins really? Like, would they leave the skaters alone, or did you guys?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you just you were on your P's and Q's, and you were like mindful in the sense like just don't step out of line, or like careful who you
Respect.
date, or
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
and you know, just respect, right? Because if not, Block or Jesse or these different people would check you. It doesn't matter if you know you're pro this or whatever. They don't give a fuck.
Because I feel like
Keep
also
you
like
in line.
Jesse and Block, like they knew everybody.
Yeah.
Like they knew all the gangs, they knew all that stuff.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, they were very, I think, you know, Blocks had family members that were part of
Right.
it. So Jesse too, I think.
Block knows everybody.
Yeah.
Bro. It seems like
Yeah.
he really does know everybody.
Yeah. So yeah,
And you look at those areas now, and you know, little house next to like a multi-million-dollar mansion, and then little house, like
Yep.
it's so crazy now
Yeah,
going down
changing.
those streets.
and then,
Danny Supa used to live on San Juan.
He did.
Yeah, used to go over to his house all the time.
Wow.
and then this guy Joff had this ramp called the VSA ramp, Venice Skate Association ramp on Palms, and that was a really good ramp, and that lasted for I don't know a year or two. We had a lot of sessions on that ramp.
See you skating a vert ramp.
I mean, it was vert,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, like I said, I was more the slasher, right? So I was like more coping level or under the coping guy, you know. So I
Nothing wrong with
couldn't
that,
I
nothing wrong
couldn't
with that.
blast like Christian, but I gave him a run for his money on the grinds. Like I was like, all right, I can't blast like you, but you know, I'm gonna show you a grind that you know, it's gonna you know,
Christian kind of
And he was
stayed
competitive
away.
like that, and I actually kind of like that too. So like he would kind of push me, and I'd be like, all right, I mean, I can't do that, but I can do this.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, me and Christian spent a lot of time together back then.
Wow.
A lot. He kind of took me under his wing, took me on trips, sponsored me for wheels. Yeah, we go out at night all the time.
Oh, was he?
I was his wingman.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he just like? He was a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
there's not
partied.
many people at that age that had that kind of charisma and confidence that I've ever witnessed to this day. Yeah, I mean, the first time he took me to Hawaii with him, he came to my house and sat my dad down and talked to him. Like,
How old is he? What is
I'm
he?
16, maybe said 16. Yeah, and he's 17 or 18.
Wow.
Sitting my pops down going, your son's, he's got a career ahead of him, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take him to Hawaii. I'm going to take care of him. And like totally sat my dad down and gave him a
That's
talk
so
like, this is
amazing.
what we're doing. My dad's like, all right, cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Trusted in him.
Yeah. And then we went to Hawaii and, I met Mark Oblo and the whole Hawaii crew. And that became, a real integral part of our yearly, travels
Wow.
and adventures and crazy shit we would do over there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Damn. And going out at when you were talking going out, you're talking like going out in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and to the clubs
Yeah.
and everything. I mean, he's a young kid. He's not even like 21, but he's probably getting let into everything.
Yeah.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, we knew either the DJ, the
Yeah.
doorman, the club promoter, and him and Max Perlich were like the two guys that we probably went out with, that I went out with the most. And between Max and Christian, they could get us in everywhere. And then slowly I knew the people too, and I was able to get in and do my thing.
Crazy.
And, yeah. And, I wasn't going to school. So, I was out,
We are going out.
3, 4, 5 nights a week, whatever it was.
Was he still like? Was that affecting your skating at all? Like going out
No,
and
not
partying?
at all.
No, you were
No.
just
That was a part of the lifestyle.
It was, yeah, completely.
yeah.
You just started skating a little later.
Sometimes a little hangover, could induce some good skating. I think sometimes,
Yeah.
Skaters get up on a different time wave. That's for sure.
Well, it's just a different time. I mean, now, you have people that got their warehouses and got all their things. For us back then, it was like if the ramps were out at the pavilion, we were doing that.
Right.
If not, we were, I don't know, we were looking for something to skate or whatever it was. But
Huh.
it wasn't so, maybe some people did, but like our crew, we just kind of hung out and were having fun and skated,
Yeah.
So it being sponsored by Dogtown at that time, and then eventually turning pro, which we'll talk about. But like, what was expected of you? Like, what did Red Dog want of you guys to do? Like, just shoot for the magazines, just be out there.
He wanted us to like skate hard, dominate, have
Contests.
attitude, like, just represent Dogtown and that style and that attitude, right?
Because you guys said you were hanging out, but you were also like contests, right?
Yeah.
You were entering the contest
Yeah.
and all that.
And so, when I first got sponsored by Mirror, I mean, it was a real family-run company. It used to be out of his mom and dad's garage. So when I needed to get boards, I had to go to his dad's house and be like, back then with jump ramps, we're breaking boards all the time. So they're like, you need more boards? I'm like, yeah, I broke me. I was like, can I get like 3? They're like, you need 3? I'm like, yeah, I need 3 boards.
The parents.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, Mr. Mirror.
So
Yep.
good.
Did you, when you got like a cover like that, did you get like paid for that at all? Any photo incentive, or was it just
There was photo incentive back then, like, if a sticker was showing and stuff like that.
yeah?
Back then, yeah, the money wasn't really coming in very much then. I mean, I was like slanging boards and doing different things to make a little money,
Nice.
amongst some other things.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Wow, what a trip. I love hearing stories about the old days. Not the old days, you know what I mean?
Especially
But
Venice,
Like Venice,
though.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like such a
Venice days.
because like I was around when not around, but when I was a little kid, you would see Venice is a lot different now. Like
Yeah,
the
of
wall's
course.
gone,
Yeah.
like the pit is buried. But I vaguely remember, going there with my parents or something and seeing the wall.
Yeah.
I wasn't really into skating back then, but I knew the kind of landscape, you
Yeah.
know? So listening to these stories, looking at the video is like such a trip, brings me back.
On
a
any
little bit.
given weekend, you were getting a demo by like a lot of the best skaters in the world at the time.
Crazy
You
is
know?
that?
And Venice was a perfect stage for, especially if you're comfortable around a lot of people watching.
Right.
It was a really fun thing to do because, sometimes we'd have a couple hundred people watching.
Totally.
Like a launch ramp jam, and there'd just be mad people watching.
Yeah.
Tourists, all
Yeah,
kinds
everything.
of people.
Tourists,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, like a spectacle.
How did you like that?
I loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like, not everyone likes that. I kind of thrive in like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Like in contest, I'd beat Gons and Nodis all the time, but it wasn't because I was better than them. It's just that, Gons was probably trying something that never been done before. And I had a line that I could do.
Right.
And I would stick my line, right? Which, was, whatever it was, right? But, Nodis and Gons were like doing stuff that was, next level, and they weren't making it. Or some people just kind of get a little tight under that pressure.
Yeah.
Where for me, I kind of like that pressure. It makes me go, like that grind I did on that Savannah wall. I hadn't grinded that wall once the whole weekend. That was the only time I grinded.
Was this
that
one
run.
or two or three? Three?
Two
Is
or
it the one we
three?
were just watching? Can you pull up the Savannah Slamma?
It was
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were watching.
But,
Maybe
three.
three.
And I was the only one to grind that. No one else grinded that whole weekend.
Look at, he's got his ponytail.
Spandex
Got
shorts
his
on.
spandex shorts.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
level
look at
shit.
this, dude. I love. What is Buddha? Look at that.
Oh, no, that's not the
my
one.
God.
No,
Is it a different one?
Yeah, there's one where I grind the wall.
Well, let's just watch this one through.
Oh, damn.
That was so sick.
This is 3. So it might have been 2.
No, this is the one, but it's a different run.
Oh.
That wall was not small either.
What,
Yeah,
what's the time?
I grinded that wall. But
you grinded that wall?
yeah.
There's a little nollie shove. Let's turn around. Let's turn around.
Are you wearing airwalks right
On that wall right there. No, I think I'm wearing I'm wearing Etnies.
Etnies.
Oh, wow.
Dude, look at
Because
that.
they're high top, right?
Yeah.
Those are the first ones, maybe.
That quarter pipe right there. I got a story about that after.
Didn't Nodis have a shoe with Etnies back then or no?
Yeah.
Well,
Who's
no,
the first
not
pro-
Etnies. Excuse me. Was it Elise? It
Elise.
was
Oh, wow.
it was that tennis
Oh,
shoe
yes.
No way. That's
that
super
Nodis
sick.
used to rock.
Super sick.
Oh, so you bought those?
Yeah, I bought those.
Okay.
Wow.
Here comes the
Elise.
G-turn.
Elise. I had a pair at least for sure.
Let's show the crowd what you got. Look at that.
Did.
Damn. He's like, one more. Hold on. I'm not done yet. 83.3. Do you remember how you did in this one?
I think that was like the quarterfinals or whatever. The last run is the one where I grind the top of the wall.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm fucking going to do great.
Lester Casal.
And then I just pushed and kicked
Maybe-
my wheel.
Is it in here? Is this the whole contest, JC? Let's see. It's got to be 59 minutes. Oh, Eric Dressen? Dude,
Well,
all
Dressen was the man back then. He
Yeah.
kind of ran things back then.
Let's see if we could see your name pop up again. Maybe JC can find it while we're talking. You said that you had a story about that one ramp.
Yeah, that one quarter pipe that I
Yeah.
do a little backside slash on. Ben Schroeder tried like, I don't know, 3 or 4 attempts at a frontside rock on it and hooked up and just slammed so hard and then got back up and did it again and slammed and got back up again and did it slammed. I mean, I've never seen someone slam so many times.
Did he end up doing? I can't
No,
recall.
I don't think he made it.
Ben
On
Schroeder?
that wall right there?
See, I
On
didn't
this
grind
one
that
or the other quarter pipe?
No, the other
pipe.
quarter pipe.
Wait, you grinded that one?
Yeah, I grind this one in one of the shots.
Oh, we gotta find it. We gotta find it. That's crazy. What was the thing that Ben Schroeder used to do? He used to like walk by his board. Board would go into the bowl. And
What's
he'd
that
jump-
called? Like a ghost something or something?
Dude, I don't know what it is, man. But
I've
that
never
is-
seen anyone commit with such like ferocity and speed and how big he was, right?
dude.
And just would hold on when anyone else would be like bail, and he just holds on and just tries to make it. Yeah, I mean, that was a real, that wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
So he
one.
tried a frontside rock on that wall multiple times and kept hanging up and just hip her and just bam, bam.
God.
Yeah, that was a real treat to be able to skate with him and just see that guy do
We
his
got to
thing.
get Ben on the show, man. I saw him at the last combi, whatever contest that they had, and dude, so big, and he's just skating the bowl,
Yeah.
skating the combi. Like, I don't know how old he
So
is, but
bad.
Yeah.
it's crazy to watch these old guys like. Just
Yeah,
doing
one of my
it.
favorites.
See if you could find it, JC. Maybe scroll through there. See if we could see his other run, Scott's other run. What were those contests like? Like the Savannah Slamma. I mean, like you said, you got all the dudes there. You got Lester Kasai, Steve Saez. You got Dressin. You got everybody.
You got Nadas, you got
Nadas,
Gons,
yeah.
Christian.
Were
You
they?
know, I think even like Grosso and like those guys were there as well.
Mhm.
But they would just kind of like mess around. You know who was actually rad in that I seen do some some runs that I was like, God, he was so rad. Was Neil Blender. Neil Blender was great. Like I think I almost didn't totally appreciate what Blender was doing in some of those things, but I was like, man, he's doing some really cool tricks in his
He's
runs.
a character as well. Like he's very animated.
Yeah.
Which,
I didn't know Neil that well. I mean, honestly, Neil Blender and I probably, you know, even though we saw each other at contests, I maybe said like, you know, a handful of words to him all those years.
He wasn't a talkative guy in that way.
I don't know. I just didn't. We didn't talk a lot. I
Right.
didn't talk with Neil for whatever reason.
Yeah.
There was a once event when he like stopped and like spray painted on the little character
Yeah.
and stuff. We have it. Let's see here. This
Is that it?
This has got to be it.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Just push it.
Oh my God.
You
And
had
so-
you didn't do that
Damn.
at all.
No, I just,
Wow.
you know, it just that the adrenaline in the moment, right? Just
That was nuts.
got up a little higher.
What is that? Like 5 feet of vert right there?
Dude.
It's about 8 feet of vert.
Are you kidding
Yeah.
me, bro?
It's at least 6 feet because I think you could see the seam right there. That's at least one ply.
Yeah. I gotta watch this.
You're basically grinding the second story. Dude.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I came down. I
rad.
was like, oh, I did that. So then I'm like, you know, big backside slash again.
Yeah.
Get ready to do something else and watch this.
Oh my God.
I mean, just pushing.
Dude.
And then you're shook by that point, right?
Yeah, you're
Even
like,
though it wasn't a trick, but you're like, damn, I just fell.
That's almost more. Yeah, it's more devastating falling and pushing. Than,
Yeah.
Than like. But man, to grind up
I
that
mean, I
thing.
wouldn't consider that a fall, but
Well, that
that
was
was rad, too.
sick.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I'm
Well, I
just
take
shook,
you. I
right?
take
Yeah,
you.
it
Did,
was
I take you
so
didn't win this one, right? Wow.
Yeah, I had one that happened to me another time at one of the Munster contests where I qualified second, and I'm going through my run. I do this backside Smith on this wall. I do this lip slide, and then I go to ollie up this little 6-inch tall little box just to set up for the next thing. And I ollie up and I hook up on it. Like I fall like just on the setup trick.
Devastating.
You know, when you fall
Seriously?
like that, it's hard to like kind of regroup.
Right. Here he goes. G-turn.
G-turn again, there it is.
I'm, by that point,
yeah,
you're done. I got to see this really quick. That's one more time. I got to see this grind on this thing, man. Wow. That is. I
Yeah,
wish
that
there was a
was
different angle, man. Damn. That is psycho.
Well, Mofo, I got a picture in Thrasher from the angle to the side. Mofo got a
okay.
picture of that.
Maybe we could pull that up. But man, look at that. Was anybody else? Did anybody else touch that?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that was only grinded that weekend.
Crazy.
it reminds me of that wall at Power Quarters.
Oh,
at
dude,
the
Pal Skate Zone?
Skate Zone, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a big wall.
Yeah.
How many feet of vert was that wall?
I don't know, dude, but it seems similar to that for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever go to the Pal Skate Zone when they had the huge wall, quarter pipe
They
wall?
had like 2 quarter pipes, right? Didn't they have 2 where you could kind of go from one to the
They
other?
did, but on the
They-
other side, they
yeah.
had this huge wall ride.
I don't know if I did that. I remember going there one time when I was injured and I couldn't skate.
Because they had the indoor park or the outdoor park first.
Okay.
This
I
was
never went
inside.
there.
This
And
was
then
like the
inside-
indoor.
Yeah, the indoor
Yeah.
shit was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you're skating the Savannah Slamma, you're up against the best, but you're not phased. You're like, oh, I'm just doing my thing. Because you said sometimes they're trying the hardest shit and they're falling, which would give you an advantage a little bit.
Yeah, in that realm, I felt pretty confident. But
Yeah.
I had one time where it was the Hawaii spine ramp contest, the one where Gon says that big air across that whole section. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. But and this is back in the time when I had an arsenal of flip tricks I could do, right? And so, but I was really a street skater. But because I was skating pretty well on mini ramps and stuff like that, Mira's like, "Oh, why don't you come and try to get do this mini ramp contest?"
Okay.
So I made the cut. I made the 20 cut, but I made it like 20th or like 19th. And so the way it worked is I went, and then the person who was first or second went. The way they kind of did it.
Oh.
I can't remember, but all I know is I went after Tony Hawk, and at a street contest, I was like, whatever, I got it. I got this, with him. But the run he did on this mini ramp, I was so shook afterwards. I was like, now I got to drop in after this, and my little lip tricks and stuff, what I was going to do. I was like, shook. I literally dropped in going, oh my God, I suck.
No way.
Yeah. It's the one time that I was totally shook after just having to follow Tony after he just does this sick run with all these technical tricks and everything he did. And I was just like, man, that's a different level. I'm not that level.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Hawk, man. What year was that? What do you think? That
90,
contest?
maybe?
Really? 90?
89, 90, 91. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah, we're creeping into the 90s.
Okay. Was there video footage of that? Do you remember?
I don't know. I've never seen any footage of
No?
that. That's so weird. Like, what, that whole era, like, didn't all the contests get videoed?
I'm
You
sure
would think so.
some parents had those big cameras out
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say.
It got
But there was
filmed.
no one in NSA or anything that was, like, documenting.
That would have been probably a wise thing to do at that time, I would
You would
imagine.
think, right?
Because they filmed like the Savannah Slammas, but they had a purpose behind it. It made it into a video, and
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's what's so cool with what Stacy did is he made films, right?
Right.
And, the Bones Brigade and the whole Powell thing just, like, had so much footage
yeah.
where none of us had that. I
Yeah.
mean, we were doing cool stuff, but, like, it was just all stills. So we
Yeah,
didn't.
like
We
Future
never
Primitive,
had a
for sure.
Dogtown video all for that whole time.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
In hindsight,
How much? I mean, do you think that would have affected like your board sales and
Oh,
all
for
that
sure.
stuff if you guys would have like
For
buckled
sure.
down? And why didn't you guys do it?
Because Muir was at the helm, and it wasn't like we were like, oh, we need a video part. There wasn't really video parts back then,
Yeah.
right? So we weren't thinking like, oh, we need to do a video,
No one even
Video-
talked about it?
huh?
No one even talked about doing a video?
Not that I remember.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, now that you say it, I mean, I didn't even think about.
And there was a lot of stuff we were doing back at that time that was on the cutting edge of, progression. But
When did Dogtown do their first video? Like what?
well, we actually in 91 we were doing a video, and we were in Europe filming some stuff.
Okay.
And then we went to Amsterdam, and I hadn't at
Stopped
this point-
filming after when you were in.
Well, I hadn't smoked weed in probably like a year and a half at this point, and I'm in Amsterdam. I was like, I gotta like smoke some weed. So we're at the train station, and we happened to go on the one weekend that was like some boating exhibit. So all the it's just like a very boat centric area, right? So all the hotels were booked. We couldn't find any place to stay. So Mira's trying to look for hostels, whatever, and so we're like lying on all our bags, and I could see a coffee shop like in the distance, and I told, who was it? What's his name? John Fab. What was Fab's? What was his last name? Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, I said, why don't you stay? And I was like the older kind of statesman of the group of the team, so I was kind of in charge when Mira went away. I said, all right, you guys stay here. I'm gonna run here and come right back.
Farber.
Fabrice
Farber?
or John Fabric. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank on his name, man.
Johnny Farber.
Kind of like a
Farber?
Filipino
No.
kid. Man, sorry, John. I'm just blanking on your last name. But anyway, so I go to the coffee shop. I've always wanted to go in a coffee shop and order weed and just smoke like that. And so I go do that, and now I'm high. And I come back to where they're at, and they're just lying all the bags. Muir comes back with some dude. He's like, oh, he's got a place for us to stay. So we grab all our bags, and he's like, where's the video camera? So basically someone stole the video camera right in front of all the guys lying on the bags.
Wow.
Like someone just like, whoop, and just grabbed it. So we lost all our footage.
Oh.
So now we're just like bombed. Muir's pissed.
You're high.
I'm
yeah. He's like, I don't know what's going on, man.
We go to this, in Amsterdam, the buildings are like this narrow, right? They take us into this like place where it's like 2 cots and there's 6 of us. And there's 2 cots and a chemical bucket in the corner for a toilet.
Oh.
And we're just like, what?
What is this?
And so, but that's all we had. And we were there for 2 days. So we just like stayed the entire day out as much as possible. We just came just to sleep.
Man.
Wow.
Footage was gone.
All footage gone.
Damn.
And another thing that happened too, where a part for me would have been great, is with Tony Roberts with the Speed Freaks video. They had filmed a whole section and his van got broken into and stole all the footage. And I had a good part for that one. Back in those days, you had 1 day to shoot. It's like Tony Roberts is coming on Saturday, and you take him wherever you're going to take him, and he's going to be there that day, and that's it. You didn't get months or times to like really set up or do things more than once.
What video did you have footage in that?
Yeah, I was in both.
Yeah,
Streets of Fire and Speed Freaks. Yeah.
Do you have like a part or just footage? Just a couple
Part.
tricks. Oh, you had a part?
Yeah.
Pull that up, JC. I think we had it queued up.
I think whichever this one is, I don't know, one of them's better than the other. I think this one's not that great. What is this one?
Let's see. But I love the scene, the beach and the Venice, and like
Yeah.
it's so cool, man. It's funny too to think about how long those curbs have been there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What shoes are those?
Ponies. We got sponsored by Adidas, or Pony was doing something where they were trying to sponsor skaters and rappers. So they sponsored Ice-T and Rhyme Syndicate.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Oh, look, the Renaissance banks.
Pacifica Banks.
Whatever. Wait, what?
That's
Radisson
what we call
Banks?
Radisson.
We call them Pacifica because it
Okay.
was Pacifica before Radisson.
Gotcha.
Not Mark Noho. Pat Noho. Mark Noho is his brother. Pat Noho is the one that brought me to that bank. I think he's the one that actually discovered those banks.
Dude, another stylish skater.
Yeah.
Man, Pat's awesome.
Yeah, I think the video after this one, I don't know if this is the first one, the one I did after that
Oh,
one,
there's Aaron Murray.
where I actually show a couple, like where I can actually ollie.
Let's see. Do we have that one, JC? Let's see if JC can work his magic right now. Here it is. Is this it? No. Risk It?
Yeah, it might be
Yeah?
Risk It. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, wow, it's an hour and 22.
Was it Risk It? Was it? I don't know. Yeah, that's this one. Yeah.
Where's your
Wait.
part?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I do have a part in that. I don't know if that's just like a little clip of.
Any word, JC? Maybe I'll just let JC look for it while we're... Yeah, go ahead. Don't want to stress him out back there, Poor little JC. Damn, that's crazy. I love... No, wait, what trips me out is like you guys didn't have a video.
No.
That's insane to me because like the Powell is out there killing it.
Yep.
Those guys are making $20,000 a month on board sales alone.
Yep.
Like, man, I feel like if you guys... Were you guys getting anywhere close to those types of checks?
No.
No.
I mean, I
Damn.
think maybe the best I ever got was 1,500 or 2,000, maybe, if that.
Fuck.
Maybe they got discouraged because their video shit got stolen.
I mean, that could be true too.
And
But
back then, I mean, I think, the whole skate culture back then, everyone probably felt like the Bad News Bears, but I felt like we were really the Bad News Bears. Like
Right.
the Alva team and the Dogtown teams were more like the kind of ragtag, not as polished, not as professional. Like, Powell was a pretty smooth, oiled machine that was, pro, and they were like, we had Ben Schroeder, who was a nut, and Aaron Murray and myself and Dressen. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty chill, but yeah, I mean, we just had a ragtag group of guys,
I mean, just imagine, like, turn back changed the trajectory, and like a Dogtown video back then in Dogtown, in Venice, just with all those skaters would have been fucking incredible.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just now to look back on that would be just wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Who was filming you back then, for the most part?
Block. Well, it wasn't filming; it was just photos, right?
Photos, yeah.
So
okay.
it was Block and Chuck Katz.
Okay.
And then sometimes Mofo would come down, or O would come sometimes. But yeah, it was mainly Chuck and Block were the two main photographers that most of our photos came from.
Do you think Block still has all that archived?
I'm sure he does.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like he holds on to all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be amazing to come out with some of that, or just, I'm sure he's thought about it in many different fashions because he's filmed so many different things, like as far as like early stages of hip hop around this area. Like, dude, he has so much shit. So it's like, I would be such a amazing thing for him to try to archive that and put it together. But I know it's a task in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to have that come to light would be amazing.
He needs like an army of people to like go through all that, probably.
For sure.
And then, 91, end of 91, that was it.
That was it?
Time's up. Can't do a kickflip.
Back to the kickflip, man.
But, it also, Muir moved up to San Francisco, right? So Dogtown was always, it was just such a homegrown kind of thing that started in his mom's and dad's garage. And, it was this thing. And, I was just so honored and stoked to skate for Dogtown. I didn't want to skate for any other company. Companies were calling, and I was like, no, I'm staying.
Really?
Even Murray, even Dressen stayed for a while before he left. Because we were like a tight group. We were all, it was like a family, we were like homies. I mean, me and Murray were homies before we even skated for Dogtown.
Right.
So, it was a tight group. We skated all the time together.
Did you know anybody else that was on like Santa Cruz or Powell or any of those other companies?
Only like when we go to contests and stuff like that. Everyone kind of like had their own crew. Like I love how it is now where everyone hangs out together. Like it's way more communal that way.
For sure.
I mean, we would session together and have good sessions together. But in general, we kind of stuck with our neighborhoods or like our areas more so, right? And yeah, so Muir moved up to San Francisco, and then I was 21. It was like the end of 91 or something. And, I was at a point now of like, how much you sell the boards for? How much money am I making? Health insurance? Just started asking more questions and kind of wanting a little bit more than what we were getting.
Right.
And I think, it just was like, we're going to, we got Karma and we got Wade Spire and, we're going this direction. And I was supposed to have a board that came out. It never came out. All these boards came out. And then one day Mira Collins like, yeah, we're going in a different direction now.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, cool.
Damn.
And then I just thought about what I wanted to do. And, I was talking to Vision at one point. I was like, I don't want to skate for Vision. This is not my thing, I just couldn't get myself to... I think I just got disheartened by the way the whole thing went. I feel like, be stoked you get a skateboard with your name on it, you travel and you're picked in the magazines and, just don't ask too many questions. And when you do, we'll find the other person that's ready to do that. So, and then I just really kind of dropped off. I mean, I rarely skated for years, except to maybe go to like the store or something, if even that.
Crazy.
And then DJing happened. That's how I got into becoming a DJ. Because I was going out all the time back then anyways. And on tour, I was like the guy kind of making little mixtapes, tape to tape and doing stuff like that. And, it was just that golden era of music too, where Eric B and Rakim and EPMD and Jungle Brothers and, NWA, just all that music that was coming out then.
At that time, for sure.
And so, that I went down that in the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and just that whole era from 85 on.
Yeah.
So, we really got into all the hip hop and also we always, like reggae was a through line for all of us. We always played a lot of reggae too, but, the hip hop really became something that we got into. And then Skate Master Tate, rest in peace, he was a record collector and he started showing me records like James Brown records like this. It's two in particular. James Brown, it was called Funky People 1 and 2. And on those two records, you had pretty much almost every song had been sampled by Eric, I Know You Got Soul, just like all those songs,
Recognizable.
right?
Yeah.
And so I really got into all those soul records, like in the records that people were sampling.
Yeah.
So I got into just collecting, mainly on tapes more than vinyl even back then, where I just got into making, rare groove kind of funk and soul, hip hop, reggae mixed tapes that I would make when we go on tour.
Right.
And then, one thing led to another, and this guy, Brent Bolthouse, who, did a lot of clubs. He was a friend of mine, and he used to have parties at his house, and I'd put like my mixtapes on. And he was doing a club called Saturday Night Fever, where he was the DJ in the VIP room, but he was also the promoter and the host, right? So he would have to sometimes do stuff, and he'd be like, "Hey, Scott, you want to play some records for me for a little bit?"
Okay.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I would just use his records, which were mainly just kind of like classic rock, maybe a little bit of soul. Because in the VIP room, it was more kind of like 70s rock, funk, whatever, and the other room was a disco room. So after a couple weeks of him saying that, I was starting to get hooked. I was like, oh, this is fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was there every week regardless, right?
Gotcha.
So by the third week, I was like, hey, you need a break? You want me to spin for you a little bit? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then within about a month, they said, why don't you just do it?
Really?
We'll pay you $150, whatever it was. I can't remember.
Okay.
And I was like, cool. And so, yeah, one thing led to another, and I just became a DJ. And it was one of the best places in town where, all like the it people were going to,
who's who.
in that scene.
It seems like you naturally kind of just fell right into it then.
Yeah, it was super organic the way that happened.
That's dope.
And so then, other club promoters saw me DJ in that spot saying, oh, will you DJ my spot? And so I started becoming more like the lounge VIP room DJ because it was more eclectic the way I was spinning.
Yeah.
And then, one thing led to another, and I'm starting to do dance spots and starting to do hip hop spots, and,
Word gets around.
Yeah, and then before I knew it, I was just full blown DJ.
That's crazy.
And I did that for 20 plus years.
When you're going from like Bold House to like other club, could you charge them more money? Because like,
well, yeah, definitely my rate went up as time went on.
Right,
and by the end of it, I was making the most money I'd ever made, more than skateboarding or anything, but I was miserable because I'm playing like rooms where I'm like playing, shit that I don't even like. Playing big rooms where you have to, play a lot of top 40 stuff. And I was like, not feeling it.
Yeah.
But, I'm making money and I'm trying to save money to buy a house and,
Right.
So, yeah, that towards the end of my DJ career it wasn't as fun, right? Because I feel like I almost kind of sold out. Or in the beginning, it was just playing music I liked.
What were you? So you like 91-ish to like when do you think? The whole DJ thing.
To really, I was even DJing still weekly, like in 2012.
Oh, okay.
A little bit, not quite as much. But I started going back to doing more things that I like to do. I wasn't getting paid as much, but it was more fun.
I was going to ask, what was your favorite like spot to DJ at?
There was a lot of good places, but there was a lot of good spots that Brent did that were super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked being able to play like a real eclectic set where, it's something from like The Clash to, James Brown to, some reggae to, different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was a lot of really great hip hop clubs. In that era of hip hop, when I got into DJing, 92, 93,
so good.
Was, you had Biggie, you had Nas, you had Wu-Tang, Black Moon.
Much.
Tribe had already been out, but Tribe was dropping
Still
stuff. Gangstar. It was just, I'm naming mainly East Coast groups.
But that's what it was, though, at the time.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that was just a real magical era of hip hop that I just became a DJ in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
Cypress Hill. It was just, there were so many groups that came out in that little window.
Yeah.
Were you DJing just in LA or did you travel around for that?
Back then we didn't travel so much. It was before that kind of became a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And almost like, why do you need to? Like all the hot spots are here. Regardless, New York, yes. But like in LA, I feel like there was so many clubs and things like that in Hollywood and stuff.
And people
like that.
back in those days used to go out.
Yeah.
People used to dance. People used to go to clubs to go dance or hang out. And it's just not like that anymore.
Right.
It doesn't seem like.
Right. Well, nowadays
It changed.
It's like barely DJs, right? It's
No,
just
they're
kinda
DJs.
like-
Everybody sit there and stare at each other. Don't get me wrong. There's still they're dancing still, but it's changed up.
So, Hollywood mainly. That's where you're DJing.
Yeah.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, mainly Hollywood.
Huh. Crazy, man. So you enjoyed it, like the whole DJ, except for the stuff that you didn't like, that you just did.
Yeah, for the most part, it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, mattress money, and you just could make cash, right?
Really?
Yeah, no checks. It was all just cash at the end of the night.
Did you get songs from like skate videos and stuff?
Did I get songs from skate
Well,
videos?
like just like be introduced to music through like skate videos. that
No,
you
I
really-
mean, if anything, I was introducing music to people,
Right, okay.
right? So I was like really into, and I was connected with a lot of labels then too. So you're getting test pressings or things like that from
Stuff
different
early,
things.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like Biggie and Craig Mack, I got that before. I think almost anyone had it on the West Coast then.
Were you paying attention to anything in skateboarding?
There was a big window where I didn't. Like the whole Costin era of like time is when I like just totally checked out. Like I don't think I looked at a magazine for I can't tell you how many years.
Wow.
It was a long time. I don't know. I just got burnt out, and I don't know. It was weird. I just did not check into it during you guys' whole era.
Yeah.
Not till later did I meet you guys until like, I don't know, maybe it was early 2000s.
Right.
You
That's
know?
when everybody was kind of really doing the club run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were all coming to Las Palmas and
Las
doing that whole thing.
Palmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely I had my fair share. I would slide out every now and then, just because it was like, But I had a lady at that time, so I had to be very cautious. Of
I mean,
how
I was
moving.
sly. I was going to Las Palmas. I was going to all the places. Yeah.
Wait, so
And
you
you
were
had to be with the right people.
And you guys were all rolling.
Yeah,
because
we
that
were
was
deep.
that was a good rolling deep, and you guys had money back. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys were flush back then. I mean, wasn't that like the Tony Hawk time and like people making
certain
money off those
individuals
videos
definitely
and
we obviously
all the
would
shoe
make
and
a little
board
bit more.
stuff kind of really got crazy back then. That's
for
like when
sure.
it all really kind of blew up, right?
Eric was definitely one of those on the forefront of that
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Because they were coming and dropping, Tim and everybody was dropping a bunch of money. At
And
the
then
clubs.
Gav too, obviously with the DVS
Yeah.
happening and yeah,
Yeah.
people were spending money.
Kids,
People were spending
kids were popping bottles
and having a
making-
good old time.
Yep.
Muska.
Muska.
A
Yeah.
lot of skaters started rolling through. That's for sure.
Yep.
And
And that's
you-
kind of when I met that crew, was probably that time is when I actually got to know some of them.
Yeah.
And then a little later with the Supreme Bowl, like when Supreme opened
Yeah.
and stuff like that, we started having sessions there. And Dom had Brooklyn Projects. We'd have sessions back there. And that's when I kind of, the brotherhood of like our connection of, getting to know each other. And plus Alex Olson, someone that
And just
I've
having
known.
all those connections as skaters, you know what I mean? It's-
Exactly, which is so cool that because up until that time I was so out of it. I felt like when I left skateboarding, it was really time for me to kind of go. It was like a new era that was happening, and they weren't really like checking on me. Like it was almost like, okay, that's that old shit. We're doing this thing now. And it was cool, that was fine. I think that's why the disconnect for me was kind of easier because it just went somewhere
Right.
else. And I got really into DJing and trying to make beats and do that whole thing. So, but it was later that we all kind of found like that brotherhood of like skate and stoked to like skate with each other.
Just that respect level of knowing where you come from at that time too, and knowing like, dude, there's Scott Oster, he's fucking DJing and shit, and that just made it more of an incentive to be like, we're going out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just that synergy of being a skateboarder, it's so cool that like you years later, you know what I mean? It's just like you never left type of scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a special thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't until later that I really actually felt that kind of community and that brotherhood that we all kind of share together, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some skaters, like we just had Steve Stedham on the show, and he was saying kind of the same. He was like, "Well, when Vert died, he was done. He didn't even pick up a board for 15 years.
Yeah,
he was like over it, like." And I feel like that happens, but we didn't forget about you. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Well, Alex Olson was my one like kind of connection to it as well.
Yeah,
I met him and he was like a little kid. I mean, Steve Olson's one of he's probably my oldest friend that I've stayed in contact with since I was 15 years old. Steve Olson is by far the person that has been a through line in my life.
Chris, I think he's for you too. You've known him for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known Olson for a while. That's why I met Alex and through Steve.
Yeah.
We used to skate with Alex all the time. But Steve's the best.
Yeah.
He is the best.
He
never changes.
Never changes.
Never. He'll walk in right here and be like, "What's up, bitch?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the best.
Well, I met him through, I think, if my memory serves me correctly, there used to be these parking garages we used to skate called MCO.
Okay.
You guys ever hear of that
No.
one?
Sounds familiar.
It was in Westwood, and it was 2 squares that went down. So you would drop down one incline, and then you would go left or right, and then be flat where you could pump, and then it dropped down again. So you make another turn, and then it's flat, and then you could figure eight down this thing.
Okay.
And there were certain turns that you had to go one way because it would be, a dead end or something. So you had to know which ones you had to turn the right way. But a lot of times you would end up having oncoming, just crisscrossing each other. And there was a select few of us that knew how to pump really well, where we would just have these races. It was half kind of like a whatchamacallit derby where they're just smashing into each other and stuff like that.
Demolition derby.
It was like it was like demolition derby / race, right? And so me, Christian, Olson, and Pat Noho, I think. Someone might be hating on me if I'm forgetting someone, but I think that's really the ones that we were always racing to see who get the bottom first.
Okay.
And so Olson's like, "Who's this fucking kid coming up beating him, by the way?" And I didn't mind talking a little shit too, if they did that. So yeah, and he's just like, "Who's this kid?" Right? So then all of a sudden I get a phone call at my house. He's like, "Scott Oster, Steve Olson, let's go skate or hang out or whatever."
Right.
And I was 15 or 16.
No way.
Wait, how'd you get my number?
I don't. Yeah, I think. Well, that was Jimmy's. He was working to Jimmy's, I think, too, and that's when I was starting to get flowed from Jimmy's. So I think that was also our connection. But yeah, that's where I met Steve Olson and our friendship.
You met him when he was 15.
15 or 16.
That is crazy, dude.
And he's 8 years older than me, I think. So if I was 15, he must have been 23 or 22 or somewhere around there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you skate with Steve a lot?
Not a lot, but we did these Jimmy's tours where, we would go out with them.
Okay.
We'd go to New York or go to some places like that. And the Jimmy's tours are fun because they were usually in funner places.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Jimmy Z?
Yeah.
Dude, Jimmy Z, seriously.
Jimmy's.
Jimmy, excuse me. I always said Jimmy Z. I always did. I didn't know any
always
better.
heard both.
I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But they had a really crazy moment.
Yeah.
Where it was just I saw it everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely, Ganser had a moment.
Were you, you said before, because we were talking about before the show, you said you weren't getting paid by Jimmy's. Was Olson or any of those guys getting paid for them?
Well, Olson, I think, was part of the art direction. I think he was helping design things and do stuff.
Right.
And I'm sure he was getting paid.
Okay.
Olson always figures out a way to get paid.
Yeah, yes, he does. You're gonna have to sell some shoes at a demo. But man, but it sounds like they were doing rad trips.
Yeah,
Jimmy's.
we did. I mean, it was a handful of them. I mean, it was a couple of years of us doing demos in the summertime.
Were you friends with the guy, the Ganser family? Right. It was was it named after his son or what?
After him.
After him. He was
Jimmy Ganser.
Jimmy
So
Ganser.
Jimmy's. Yeah.
Was his son named Jimmy? I feel like I
think it might have been a Jimmy Jr.
Jimmy
I think.
Jr.?
I can't remember.
Was there any other besides Jimmy's? Was there any other sponsors that you guys had that treated you guys really well back then and travel wise?
It was different back then. It was more like getting flowed.
Right.
It was kind of where it kind of started and stopped.
Not that much money flowing around.
There was a little bit of money from Independent, a little bit of money from Santa Cruz for riding the wheels, photo incentive,
right?
Demos,
okay,
prize money, which wasn't much of anything, but that was kind of it.
What's a best month that you had? Maybe
I don't know, man.
You said, so maybe the board sales was maybe you $2,000, right? So on top of that,
maybe, I mean, I can't even remember, but I would say maybe I made 30, 40 grand in a year, if that.
Oh, in a year.
In a year.
Okay. In a year. It was in a month.
I was like, damn.
Hey, back then, maybe not
bad. Yeah. What's 30 divided by 12?
No, we're talking,
30 divided by 12.
2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, $2,500. Yeah.
So that would be.
Get an apartment.
That'd probably been a good year.
Yeah.
For me.
Right.
Christian, I think, was making $250,000 back then.
Oof.
See how the levels were so different there too. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Nodis
even
was probably doing pretty well back then. You know, Dressen did pretty well for riding for Dogtown, but
all the PAL guys.
those, I have no idea. I'm sure they
Yeah.
did really well.
We were talking to like even like the and I hate to put them in tag, but even the lower tier like pros on PAL were still making that 20 grand. You know, they were making a lot of money
Yeah.
with their boards, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Psycho.
You know what's crazy to think about is, you know, me, Murray, Dressen, we're really kind of third generation Dogtown. The second generation was Christian and Tony. They were on Dogtown. I mean, could you imagine if Christian and Tony would have stayed on Dogtown and they were and Stacy was maybe like the running that?
Right.
Nothing against Muir.
Sure.
You know, but, you know, just having a more organized machine behind the company, I mean,
It would have been
that would have been game changer. I mean,
But don't you think like them being on separate teams and then like them being like having that like, you know,
battle.
contest
Oh, for sure.
battle like
Oh, for
helped
sure.
helped both of them.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they were both running for Dogtown at the
Yeah.
time.
That's
That was very
crazy.
short lived, though, right?
Yeah.
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 How long was that, you think?
I don't know. That's before like I was really involved, you know, on that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when I got on Dogtown, they didn't even have a team really besides Kelly and I think maybe Julian. I mean, but there was no real team.
After it was at the parents' house, where did it move to? Did it stay there the whole time?
Inglewood.
Inglewood, okay.
Yeah, they got a warehouse in Inglewood. And then they had a shop on Lincoln next to Hoagie's. It was called Welcome to Venice or something, I think. Was that what it was called? Or Streets of Venice or
Huh.
something like that. Yeah, they had a shop there.
Crazy. What year did Dogtown start? Do we
You mean the original Dogtown?
Yeah, like the like
You know, you need to have Muir on for that.
I know. I'm trying to get him on.
I don't know. I couldn't speak on that. But, you know, my time started like the third generation. I
Yeah.
think 85 was like the kickoff for that.
Okay. And you said Eric Dressen. When did Eric Dressen get on Dogtown?
That same year.
Same year?
So Kelly got me on.
Okay.
I said, well, if you're sponsoring me, you got to sponsor Murray. I mean, he's better than I am.
Okay.
Right. So Murray got on. Tuma just got on right around that time too.
Okay.
And then Dressen, I remember skating the Venice High Banks and meeting Dressen, and he just got on the team.
How old was he?
Well, he's probably a year older than I, so I was
Okay.
probably 15. He was 16.
Crazy. And he was already pro.
Yeah, well, you know, he already
Yeah.
had a whole career,
Yeah.
right?
He turned pro at like 11.
Yeah. So we met. I remember meeting him at the Venice High Banks, and then Dressen became like family for me. Me
Yeah.
and Dee became, you know, super tight. I mean, he would come to my house for Christmas every year.
Really?
I mean, he was
Nicest
like,
dude.
you know, my mom loved him. You know, my grandparents loved him. He was family.
How do you not love Eric D?
Yeah.
He's the best. We just hung out with him at Woodward. We were up there,
Yeah.
Woodward West and Airbnb.
Got to catch
Yeah.
that for sure.
He's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, love
dude.
Eric.
I used to
we
skate
we
with,
still keep in touch.
Yeah, I used to skate with him and Donnie Barley. Such an odd couple.
Barley, I didn't meet till much later, around the time that I was talking about, like early 2000s when I met Barley, and yeah, he was super cool too.
Yeah.
That's such a good dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
probably
really
when he
like
was
Barley.
living in L.A.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was skating with him and stuff.
Yep.
Man, Eric Dressen, dude. What a legend.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Must be rad to like, not rad, but you didn't even look at skating for so many years and you're doing your thing, but to come back and reconnect with everybody and it's almost nothing like nothing's changed. Everybody just got a little bit older, you know?
Yeah.
Camaraderie still there.
Well, the camaraderie was even
family.
better
Yeah.
because I feel like back in my day, we were kind of like, we had our neighborhood, we had our thing, and you guys were over here. And
Yeah.
we intermixed, but it was kind of like a little bit more like you got your thing, we
Yeah, it was
got our
separated,
thing.
for sure.
It was definitely more separated.
Mhm.
Where nowadays, like everyone just runs with everyone,
Yeah.
and hangs out, which is great. So by the time I'd come back, it was just the stoke of like, oh, Oster, and
Right.
it was cool. Like I think there was a time towards the end of my skate career where it was like my name was kind of almost tired in the sense of like that's the old guard. I think I said that earlier, but it was a time where I think it needed to move on.
Yeah.
I think I remember actually talking about the G turn, and I think I read something with Ed Templeton, and he was talking about the state of skating like in the early 90s, And I think he used me as an example. He goes, Scott Oster's still doing G-turns. And I kind of laughed because I was like, he's so right. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I did that. So I didn't even take it personally, but I was like, wow, yeah, I was still doing G-turns,
But Christian Hosoi was still blasting out airs. And, everybody had their thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is true.
But, going back, we always talk about it too, because in the 90s skating, like, we would wear, or like the pros would even wear other companies and other friends' like products.
Yeah.
Like that's how
right.
meshed it kind of got.
Yeah, I remember that distinctively. Yeah, that I mean, I was
they would write other people's
stereo
boards.
shirts. I was wearing stereo shirts. I wouldn't boards. I don't know. Clothing, apparel.
Clothing for
Right.
sure. Right.
Boards.
Right.
I don't
Well,
think that
boards got a little bit more. You can kind of interchange them, right? I mean, were boards that different back then, like shapes? Because shapes became kind of really less shapes, more, right?
Kind of standard popsicle,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, were there differences in your guys' boards?
I mean, wood. It was. I mean, certain people like certain type of wood. So I think at that time, well, for me, early, I'd say, skating world boards. So the prime wood was very like. I needed to ride those boards.
Right.
Especially once you started getting the package,
right.
You're like, oh shit, these boards are really good.
And then it matters where they're pressed,
True.
which one's pressed.
Yeah.
I
didn't know nothing about that, nor did I even. That wasn't even on my thought process
right.
at that time. I was just like, I got a board, I'm skating it.
Right.
All the other little elements to it, I just didn't even care.
Yeah. What about you guys? Did you guys like care about your shapes and all that stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, even. We would make shapes at Mira's parents' house, like that Murray board, the fingers board there. Like, Mira made a web board that had like I think that's one of the first boards with bumps. I don't know, maybe Zorlak had one or something. Okay. I don't know, but he would take a disc sander and just grind in these like, webs or whatever, like those little finger things.
Sure.
And so we would play around with our shapes like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, yeah. But like what, like just for looks, just the style, like I mean, or just be a nice little grab.
Yeah, I think it was with intention of being functional.
Sure.
Right.
Look at that nose.
I thought it was cool at the time. I'd really Again, I don't even think that I thought so much into it. Like, oh, this is a cool shape. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't until later that I actually, and much later. I'm talking about when I started getting boards made from Schmidt, where I was having some reissued Dogtown boards where they were calling it the pool board. That was like my shape that I ride to this day, where little things like, where it's pressed, which the concave is, or I'd like to do where I keep my edge of my board. I got this from Olson. Keep the top edge sharp where it's not rounded.
Okay.
So when you're skating pools or you're skating things like that, having that sharp edge, you feel your edge a little bit better. It makes the board like maybe like an eighth wider feeling too, because it's not rounded.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So having a sharp edge on the top just like holds your foot in a little bit better.
And then you would
round the bottom, soften the bottom,
right,
but keep the top edge sharp.
Oh, interesting.
And then I started messing around with doing these boards with a little rocker in them. Schmidt, he's just like the professor, right? And so he's like geeking out on these things. And he's like, the way you like to turn and stuff like that, if you put a little rocker in your board, it loads your front truck and it'll make your board a little bit more like, ready to turn. Yeah. I was like, all right, that sounds cool. So let's put a little rocker in my board.
Did it work?
I don't know if I could really tell the difference, but I like the idea that it had some rocker. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a little added addition.
I like the fact that like people back then, like even Olson was telling a story. It was like he wanted a nose wheelie and he was trying to figure out how to nose wheelie, and he was like going to the store. Remember he was telling the story when Salbo and him were on, and like just trying to even manufacture some type of nose wheelie like device that will help.
I heard him talking about that.
Right. It's so interesting. Yeah.
Well, Paul
and then after a while, he's like, oh, and then you just said, how about I fucking just nose wheelie?
Right.
I don't need anything.
Paul made me a board where he drilled all these different like truck hole places. Because I was saying, I can't really do G-turns anymore. Something about the way the boards are, like the axis point doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And so he gave me this board where it had like 4 different like hole settings. He's like, all right, we'll try this and try it here and try it at a different point in the pit, in the counter of the kick in the nose. And
again, more options.
Yeah,
Another option here.
Yeah. So you enjoyed messing around with the boards and
Yeah, for me, it's almost it feels almost like a surfboard a little bit more then because of the way I skated and stuff like that. I think tweaking on those little things like that. And then another thing I copied from Olson, I loved him, those Formica bottom boards he did.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to make my boards Formica bottom as well. It's almost like an ever slick, and that's
how would you make the Formica? How would you
You take one ply of the plywood off, and you put a Formica laminate on the bottom. So your boards are actually a little lighter and a little thinner.
Where the hell are you getting a Formica laminate?
Cabinet store. Yeah,
really?
You just buy a sheet of Formica.
Did he tell this story? Did he say about it?
I
never. This is the first time I heard about that. So you
Yeah.
would have a board, you would peel a ply off. What?
Well, I think when they, when the decks are getting glued up, you just make it, instead of a 7-ply, you do a 6-ply.
Oh, okay.
And then you do the 7th ply. Right? 7 plies, right? Is that
7
right?
ply, yeah.
Yeah. The 7th ply would be the Formica bottom.
So we're talking a board that's not cut yet, just a square kicked.
A blank, yeah.
Just a
That
blank
then they
board.
would,
Okay.
CNC or cut
Sure.
out or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go to the cabinet place and get a Formica.
I didn't.
Oh.
The first time I saw it, Steve Olson had it. And I was
Okay.
like, this is rad.
Yeah.
I love these. And I used to ride his boards. And he was the one that also had the sharp edge. So I copied the sharp edge and the Formica bottom from Olson.
Wow.
Who do you glue it on?
Yeah.
The bottoms?
Yeah.
I think it was almost like,
Or
a
a press
laminate, a
stick.
press, or
Okay.
I don't know how they did it. But
Yeah.
Elmer's. Elmer's glue.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Put it all on top of there.
Yeah.
Slam it on. That's so good.
That is a trip. Because I feel like since then, boards haven't really changed.
No, I
know?
I don't know.
But there
it
was
seems
so
like-
much experimentation, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then the boards, when the popsicle boards came in, there hasn't really been any change. Except there has been with the POW flight decks and
Right.
little things.
It's like fiberglass.
Fiber, some things, but not
Oh, yeah,
really.
that's true.
Not really.
Right.
It's kind of like stayed the same.
Pow before that, Bow Night. Yeah, Bow Night.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to emulate that pop and that liveliness that the ply gives you, right?
All that the wood, yeah, all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
The reference you get from the tail and from the wheels running, and I don't know, maybe I'm sure there's something that could do that as well, but
Not with
I
that
would-
feel.
I would think nowadays with all the environmental stuff and everything, there'd be some interesting way, but it costs a lot of money, and a lot of R&D to probably come up with something, but
Yeah. Well, I know that people experiment with the glue because the glue is a big thing for sustaining the stiffness of the board and
Right.
stuff. So there's like sustainability within glue and
right.
different things like that. But
Apparently, Justin's working on some highly technical new skateboarding
okay,
from, I think he's working with Justin Eldridge, I'm
Yeah.
speaking on. I think he's working with Ping
okay,
Golf.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
are,
really?
I guess, are working on some new boards that I'm just like, but they have like really gnarly technology at that company. And I'm just like, first of all, how are they even making skateboards?
Right.
But apparently they're, about to launch something.
Well, that's
So we'll
interesting.
see.
yeah, it's interesting to see because I feel like unless something really works, like the PAL flight decks, right? Those are like $120. Like they're expensive boards,
What's
but
a PAL fly? I don't even know what that is.
it's a very very thin.
When did this come out?
Years ago.
It's been the last couple
it's been
years.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few years?
very
I don't
very
really know,
thin board.
Uh-huh.
JC, see if you could grab one by I don't know where. Yeah, maybe Roger has one, or maybe
I
he
think
has
he
one
has it
set
set
up.
up.
Does he
Yeah.
have one set up right there?
It's Andy.
Very thin. Andy Anderson has
Okay.
flight boards, but they have give it to Scott right there. See, show him the.
Oh, wow.
So see how thin it is,
Yeah.
and how light it. It's a big board, but I'm sure it's light, right?
Right.
So they have
Super
this
thin.
technology that they put in there, and it lasts damn near
Dude.
forever, dude. Roger's been skating the same boards for a long time, but they're more expensive.
Right.
So you have to kind of spend the money to, save the money, I
Right.
guess what they say. But that's POW. It's special to them. They're not sure.
And they probably have more money to, experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, R&D is everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing. Back in the day, to be a board company, you had to manufacture your own boards.
Yeah. I mean, they used to silk screen all the boards in the factory.
Right.
That's the thing. I actually, when I get my graphics, I request if they can to do screens instead of heat transfers. I just prefer the little bit of layering you get with the colors overlapping each other rather than just like
For sure.
You know, a sticker basically heat transferred on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder when the heat transfers really came into play. It had to have been in the 90s.
I mean, it's much more efficient,
for sure. For sure.
But with the Dogtown boards, and they're not big runs of them and stuff like that. So I was like, let's just do screens. And I think they did a little bit, but I don't think they're doing it on all the boards anymore.
I like the look of the screens for sure.
The look of the screens are good. This is not, right? This is.
I think that's it. That looks like a heat transfer to me.
This is heat transfer.
Yeah. You can feel it, right?
Yeah.
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 This isn't.
Let's see. Is this it? Yeah, this is screened.
I did some boards from SMA where I had them all hand painted, and where they actually even painted the rail. Wherever the color was on the board, it wrapped over the rail as well.
Okay.
And so we did like just limited runs where they were like embossed with a number, and
That's right.
they were all hand painted.
Do you guys do a bunch of limited stuff with Dogtown with your board or anything? Different colorways?
Occasionally, Mira will do some type of fade.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll do some type of fade. I was like, maybe we should run another graphic. There's a couple other graphics we did that were bad.
Yeah.
But I remember my second graphic, I didn't even like that graphic. Mira's just like, oh, here's your new graphic. I'm like, what? What is this?
What was it?
It was like a fucking cockroach skeleton or something. I don't know what it was. I honestly, I don't know what the thing in the back actually is. But I was like bummed. I was like, what? Like, don't I have any say in this? Like when I did that one, what was so cool is Mira's like, all right, you're going to be working with Wes Humpson. I was like, wow, that's so rad. I'm working with Bulldogs doing my first graphic, So for me, I was so stoked. And he's like, well, what do you want? And I was like, well, I want to wave, I surf, and, if we can do something that maybe has some Japanese or something, or dragons, or, So we just, he kind of came up with that.
Right.
And, that's how we came up with that one.
Did this graphic run for a while?
Yeah, that one ran for a bit. And then the second one I did not like. And then
the cockroach one.
Yeah,
He's looking for it right now to see if he can find the cockroach board. Yeah.
And then what was my third one? My third one was this like kind of rising sun thing with, and I wanted a board without a cross. I was like, let's do a board without a cross.
Huh.
And so
any
I did
reason
this.
for that, or
because every board had a cross, and I was like, let's do something different.
Yeah.
So we did this Murphy instead of a cross.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's a Murphy?
It's it's like a symbol. I mean, God, where did Murphy come from? I think that's a Stesic thing.
Okay.
But it had like these kind of horns that came off, and it had this circle with this. I mean, it's hard to explain. But I think it was an Indian thing, or I'm not sure where the Murphy came from.
Okay.
That would be a Stesic probably thing. But it was something that I saw on a lot of boards early on, and some of the Dogtown boards would have a Murphy integrated into the graphic.
Interesting. Let's see if we can see that. What is this one? What is that one, Gene? Do any of these look?
Oh, yeah. That one was something that we did much later that I wasn't stoked on.
Did you collect any of your old boards?
I tried to keep one of each of them.
That.
So that's my board that I ride.
Yeah.
That's like, they call it the pool board.
Okay.
So that has like a Formica bottom. And I like having wheel wells just because, I just don't like to bite on my...
Nobody likes a good wheel bite in the morning.
Let's
see.
Yeah, those are all.
Maybe the cockroach.
If you put cockroach, you won't get it. If you
No?
put cockroach, no. That was just my.
You took it off the internet.
Maybe like
He actually typed that in there.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see.
We're trying to get the
It's
cockroach.
gotta be. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Which one?
Right there.
This one?
Yeah.
$3,000,
What?
bro. Somebody.
Get him.
What?
There's no way.
Wow, that's crazy.
There's no
No
way.
one's buying that. Like, well, what is that?
Is that the original board?
Yeah, that's
Dude, it has to be.
Yeah. They didn't reissue those.
Amazing.
But I was like, what is that? Right? It looks like it's some bone or like vertebrae of something.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I wasn't stoked on that one.
That's a Murphy.
I love that. Wow. I mean, this is what they're asking, $3,000, right?
That's
I mean, is
crazy.
somebody buying that thing?
Wow.
Scott, we need to.
How long's it been up?
6 years. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Bulldog
Wow,
art.
that's insane.
Go to the guy who's selling it and see if he's selling other boards.
Where do you see that?
I think the
Right
orange
here?
thing, yeah.
Let's see. he's got a bunch of PAL
I
stuff.
think he has, yeah.
Oh wow. You got-
Does he have the Matt Hensley right there? On the right?
This one?
What is that? Am I tripping?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Matt
dude,
Hensley.
And that's only
Is this-
300. I mean,
That's
This
crazy.
wow.
can't
bro.
be. Is this original?
Something's got to be wrong. I
Is
don't
that
see
a
how
reed?
my board is that much.
Listen, the cockroach board is highly sought after.
As much as you
This
didn't
is what,
think it was a good one, it's a good one.
But that's the thing also, comparing, I mean, it's kind of apples to oranges, but nowadays graphics are cool, but they don't mean as much. A lot of graphics don't mean as much as they used to. They used to get that one graphic that used to run for years.
Yeah.
And then that graphic was tied to that skater.
Yeah, totally.
I kind of miss
Staple.
that, Andy Anderson and Powell kind of bringing that back.
Yeah.
Where his board will last for a couple seasons, a couple years, and then he'll come out with another shape. They really take pride in their graphics.
And he does shapes, right?
He does shape. Their whole team kind of has like a whole shaped
Right.
theme and every little piece, I mean, you held Andy's board right there. Every little millimeter of that board is for something.
Right.
It's
I actually
for-
talked to him about that one time when I met him. We were just talking about boards and geeking, and I was telling him about how I like a sharp edge and
Yeah.
a rocker, and he was like totally fascinated. Like,
He's the guy to talk to.
He
Yeah.
bugs out on that.
Yeah.
For sure.
and he keeps developing it like all the time. I think now he perfected it, but it's been over the years. Like that one you saw right there. I don't even know if that's the final one.
I don't even know either. But it's funny with Andy too, because he'll kind of go through these phases. And one board that he came out with recently was didn't have all that bells and whistles, right? It didn't have it was more of a mellower board.
I just the last one I saw him was it was that but slimmed down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slim down.
Yeah.
Huh. One of the gnarliest street skaters. That guy is crazy. He can skate anything,
I didn't
anywhere,
even know
anytime.
who he was really until not that long ago. But man, yeah,
He's
Not even just street skating. He can skate everything.
and he's just a really
Totally.
cool, humble,
Oh, he's such a
sweet.
cool-
He
Such
really
a
is.
Such a good
yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
He really is.
I mean, I've only met him a couple times, but really cool guy.
You can tell he has a good energy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, totally.
yeah, he'll talk.
What's
your
with the
ear off.
helmet? Does he talk about that?
Yeah. We talked about it with him on our show. I think he's just protecting his brain.
Can't argue with that.
I think I don't know what he said really. What did he say? He just
I
wears a
think he
helmet.
just started wearing it when he was a kid, and that was just kind of
Yeah.
what he stuck with.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit about what anybody said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went through some hazing and stuff too.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think he's talked about people pissed in his helmet and stuff on tours, and he had to get another. Yeah. And he just stuck with
that's
it.
lame.
Yeah.
Totally
jeez.
lame.
Yeah,
But
Made him
he
stronger.
didn't change,
No, he did not.
which is awesome.
Definitely.
I had a question. When you took that break from skating, what was that like coming back and seeing what was going on in skating? Considering what when you left, it was at a certain point where
Right.
it wasn't as technical and people
Right.
weren't jumping that stuff. What was that like seeing it again, especially meeting all these guys and see what was going on?
well, it was just insane. I mean, I was like, what? I don't even know which way the direction they're going. And the combination of tricks. I'm like, what just happened? I'm still trying to compute what they did on one wall or one thing, and then or whatever it is. It was insane. And then watching Burnquist do all that. Those I mean, I was like, what the?
Another level.
Super
Yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was incredible. It
Burnquist
was
is
so
doing
rad.
switch loops with no top. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Removing the top.
We even seeing
crazy.
street skating going into what it was too. It must have been pretty nuts,
yeah. I mean, it
handrails
was-
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they just got longer, and they just did gnarlier stuff down them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine hucking myself down, that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder how that works. For me, because I had this surf skate kind of style where it was just flowy and stuff like that, I can still roll around a park and have fun, just kind of doing almost what I did back then, and it's fun for me. What happens to the skaters that are used to doing that kind of stuff? Do you just do slappies on curbs and that kind of go to that
Pretty
world?
much.
So wait,
Pretty
I,
much.
I thought about this,
You know?
and because what made me think about this too is when I went to the combi and it was the last hurrah, and there were all the legends and old school dudes and Ben Schroeder and all these guys, and they can barely walk, but they're going in the bowl and doing backside airs and
Right.
skating like it's nothing,
And
and
hobbling out.
they're hobbling out,
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so rad that a 60-plus-year-old
Yeah.
session can go down in
Yeah.
a bowl like that. Where is a 60-plus-year-old session going down on a ledge?
Well, I'd be curious to see where Costin is at. when he's
Costin may be
60.
one of the few.
You know,
but
Costin.
I don't know how many.
He's still chilling.
Yeah.
I don't know how many 65, maybe let's say 65-year-olds are going to skate a ledge.
Right.
Well, that generation wasn't really even skating ledges.
This is true.
What generation?
The
65-year-olds
right now.
I'm just
No.
saying, like,
Yeah.
I'm
no,
just saying,
but 65 in another decade.
Not
or
a,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
in the future,
Yeah.
like when we're 65 years old, how many people are going to be?
What's
Hey,
going
let's
to be
get a ledge session.
What's going to be
going.
the stoke on getting on your skateboard? Like for me, the stoke on getting on my skateboard for me now is my 9-year-old started skating, and I never pushed it. We have a ramp in our backyard and a little mini ramp, and it's there. Skateboards are there.
Okay.
You want to go for it, or ride with me or whatever, but I want them to like come to it themselves, right?
Totally.
Like I don't want to be that,
Same.
pro skater dude that's like, you got to skate or you got to do this. I'm like, it's here.
Yeah.
If you want it, but you got to want it.
You dangle the carrot a little
And
bit.
so finally, the 9-year-old now is kind of getting interested. He's surfing. So I was like, well, if you skate with your surfing, it helps, So, he's like, oh, okay. And then some of his friends are skating. So he's starting to skate a little bit.
Nice.
So to me, I have the most fun in the water too. Like surfing, I actually have more fun surfing with my kid in kind of whatever waves than good waves.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something fulfilling and just the stoke I get, like, being with my son out in the water
That's
or
awesome.
at the skate park. And he's funny though. Like he can drop in almost anywhere, but can barely do a kick turn. I'm like, you got to learn how to do kick turns.
no.
He's like,
You
I
gotta
want to
come
drop
down.
in from there. I'm like, that's cool, but like, what are you going to do on the other side?
Really? You just fly out? Yeah.
So yeah, like he likes to charge.
Amazing.
But with like, I was like, you got to learn how to like crawl and walk before you run,
Right.
Very
So,
true.
but yeah, he's trying to figure it out. But yeah, like I have more fun doing that than anything now,
that's
or just
rad.
rolling around and just carving around. Like a lot of times I'll just go barefoot, especially now because I'm kind of injured. So that keeps me really like, it
You-
keeps
on the
me
board.
honest of
Yeah.
like what I can do or not
Right.
do.
Any
And-
G-turns going down?
I can't do G-turns
No?
that well anymore.
Getting
No.
that knee
yeah,
tucked
the knees
in there.
don't.
Yeah,
I can't get that compressed. Not like that cover shot. That's for
You need
sure.
some fish oil or something to get those joints.
Yeah, I've definitely done a lot of biohacking for
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I've definitely gone down that road.
What so what do you got going on now? You like you said you ride you skate a little bit here and there
Yeah.
with your kid and everything. What
Yeah.
else do you got happening? Anything?
Well, I got this project that.
Oh, art stuff. We got to talk about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we were looking at those photos. Pull
So-
that up, yeah.
One of the other hats that I wore after DJing and during DJing was I started designing nightclubs, and that came just almost like how skateboarding, how DJing came into my life. I was DJing at a nightclub, and my friend that was running it got a new building that he was going to make a nightclub. And my girlfriend at the time was going to manage it. And so they had no idea of how they were going to build it out or do anything. It was that place Concord. Do you guys ever go there?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
This is like 2001 or 2.
Yeah. No.
And it used to be a strip club called Legs. And the owners of it tried to burn it down to collect fire insurance or something like that.
Straight Goodfellas.
So so the person that owned it told my friend Loyal, he's like, hey, we have this new spot, you can have it, or not new spot, but the spot, but it it needs a lot of work. We'll give you some money to help fix it up. But he didn't have really any direction in how he wanted to design it. And so I started saying, oh, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And this is back in the day when this is right when smoking inside became, you couldn't do it anymore. So I was like, why don't you do like a post and beam house? Like, I don't know if you guys remember that movie, The Party, Peter Sellers.
No.
It was just like an 50s, 60s post and beam house party where people are partying inside and outside. And I was
Okay.
like, let's make the inside and outside connected. So if you're outside smoking, you can still hear the music. You still feel like you're part of it. So big sliding doors, windows that open up to the outside and give it a really indoor, outdoor feel. And he's like, why don't you just do it? And I'm like, all right, cool. So I went from not knowing anything about how to, and this was a ground up too. So I learned, on the fly. I just got thrown in the deep end. And the architect that was doing the job was so pissed that I got this job and he didn't get it. And I was just showing him pictures in magazines or books that I collected because I used to collect books anyways. architecture books, design books, you know, hook up my little apartment, whatever it was, right? So, yeah, I would just show him pictures and go, yeah, let's make it like this. Let's make it like that.
So you're telling the architect
Yeah.
what to build, and the
Yeah.
architect's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta now I'm just working with this guy.
But the problem was, I was like, make it like a Neutra house. Richard Neutra, this, you know, iconic mid-century architect, and he didn't know who he was. And I was like, oh, how about Schindler? And he didn't know who that was. I was like, Frank Lloyd Wright? And he's like, okay, yeah. And so then as we're designing, he's like, you want it to look like a 50s like post office? I'm like, yeah, kind of, but with big open walls and stuff like that. And so along the way, I think he purposely fucked with me, because he would make, you know, we'd get a blueprint. He's like, all right, now sign off on this design, right? And then all of a sudden they'd be building, and there'd be a big wall where I saw, you know, sliding glass windows that I showed him a picture, like, this is what goes here.
Oh.
And I was like, where's the window? Like, this is a big wall and just 2 doors on each side. Where's the big sliding thing? He's like, Scott, see your signature right here? You see that dark blue line? That's a wall.
Oh, God.
This is a door.
What an asshole.
There's your signature. You signed off on this. And I was like, but I showed you a picture. I mean, like, but it was great because I learned a lot.
Okay.
So I got really thrown in the deep end on that one. But it was a crash course. I mean, you know, you couldn't go to a college and get the kind of education I got on the, you know, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so that's how all of a sudden I started designing stuff. And then, you know, that nightclub did really well. And then we did another one, and then a restaurant, and then other people hired me for things, and then retail stores and stuff like that.
Wow.
Sick.
And then, you know, I was always into sculpture and design, and I got the opportunity to do a project with Lance, actually, where a friend of mine had a house in Malibu, and he wanted me to create like waves on his driveway.
Okay.
So I just formed these, and at the time I was like, well, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to call Lance. Or I think Olson's like, call Lance, he'll help you out.
All right.
Lance hooked me up with California skate parks. And, you know, then I got that together. And that's actually when I really got to know Lance, really know Lance. And
Oh, wow.
I was like, he's just so great, you know, when you really get to know him.
He's a good dude.
And, you know, he helped me out with that. And then, it came out really cool. And then some years later, a friend of mine was doing a launch for his clothing company called Adaptation at Maxfield's. And his whole influence was 70s, 80s skateboard, surf scene, Venice, that kind of thing. So he asked me, can you, you know, design some skate feature, you know, a ramp of this or whatever. And it was at this place, Maxfield's, which is a super high-end, bougie, iconic clothing store in West Hollywood. And the guy's very into architecture and stuff like that. So I thought, you know, something more along the lines of something sculptural. So, you know, people that I really, you know, love and was influenced by for this project was like Richard Serra, Osamu Noguchi, something kind of like on a big scale. And so my thought was, you know, back in the 70s, they skated these massive full pipes. I was like, what if we got like a massive full pipe and just put it on a block, you know, on there, and there's just this sculpture that was perfect to skate, but it was just this beautiful form.
Right.
And I tried to find a full pipe, and it was, you know, nearly impossible to find like an 18-foot tall, you know, full pipe. So then I thought, well, why don't we there's this, Noguchi did this red cube. I don't know if you guys ever seen it. It's in the financial district in New York. It's this red cube that's kind of tilted on the side on the corner.
Yeah.
And I always loved that form. I was like, man, what if we did that? But the tube is only like, you know, 6 feet in diameter or something. It's like, why don't we make that bigger and make it the full pipe in there? So we just built a wood block with a 16 or 18 foot pipe in it, right? And then you put lights in it, and you make it this kind of light sound thing, right?
Right.
And so we ended up making that, and it turned out really cool. It was, and then I did this. This is a different one. This is this is the one I did in Paris.
Okay. Still same concept.
Same concept, but the one I did in LA was out of wood.
Okay. This is a trip,
Dude, full trip.
because it's almost like an optical illusion.
Yeah. So the way I got this was this is a department store called the Bon Marché in Saint Germain. And once a year they do where they they go and travel around the world to different places, and they pick a city or a country to make a theme for their store.
Mm-hmm.
And they pick, different local artisanal people that make clothes, jewelry, artists, things like that. And so they saw the cube that I did at in LA, and they're like, "We want you to do this in Paris."
Wow.
And I was like, "Great, well, let me know." And we were going back and forth, and I was like, "You got to have me come if this is going to happen, because time's ticking. You want this in like 6 months from now? We
Good
have to
luck,
design something."
Right.
So they, flew me out there, and we struck a deal. But they said to me, because if you go down in the photo, I'll show you. Like,
Let's see.
Where
is this? My thingy wasn't working.
there's a
here.
photo where you see the whole thing, and you get a scale of the size of it and where it's
JC,
at.
I can't. Go down to the other photos if you could, JC.
But when I met with them, I said, "Okay, cool. We'll put the
JC.
cube right here, on the ground." They're like, "Oh no, we have all our perfume stations here. We can't. We need to be open every day." And I was like, "Well, how are we going to do this?" They're like, "Oh, you can only work at night when we're closed." And they can move stuff at night to build, but they had to put everything back the way it was. Look at that bottom one down there.
Okay.
The last one. Yeah. So you see all those stands that are down there? So every night they had to move those out of the way.
Okay.
And then I had to put it on 10-foot tall pedestal so that the cube actually floated above it. So they could still have their shopping, and every day it had to be a functional department store.
Go back though, JC, real quick if you can.
Wait,
Like,
how would that's
It's a
insane.
trip because like you have mirrors on the,
Yeah.
on the cube, so it's like an optical illusion. You can't
Yeah.
really see.
Yeah.
Like
That thing's about 35 feet tall.
wow.
Right? But it disappears. You walk up to it and you almost don't even see it. It's like the Predator.
But so, it's like get to the chopper. So you could see like the bottom there, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then what else is
So
underneath?
there's a door that one of those panels down below has a
Okay.
door that opens, and then you have a staircase and there's a little hatch that you open up to get in.
Okay.
And the whole idea with this is, when it wasn't activated as a skate thing, the idea is that it was a sound bath. So it was like a functioning art installation that would change colors like that.
Okay.
And then you would have like, ethereal kind of sound coming out of it. So it would just kind of breathe with color and with, ambient noise or sound or
Interesting.
music, whatever you wanted to do.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's Christian
And Christian
skating.
skating.
That
it.
is insane.
Yeah, I brought Christian, Dressen, Olson. I brought them out, and they all skated
That
it.
is incredible, dude.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, man. It's a shame that doesn't still exist, right?
It was up for 6 weeks, and then it
That's
was
it.
gone.
You just tore it apart and
Tore it
it's
apart.
gone. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, that should be in like a Smithsonian or something. Look at that thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's like walking
Beautiful.
up to it. Like, you just almost can't
That
really
is-
decipher where it starts and stops.
I mean, just looking at a photo is really hard to kind of tell what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
You said they gave you 6 months. Did you build it literally in 6 months or earlier than
Well,
that?
what I did, I reached out to Eddie at Supreme, Eddie Cruz, I was like, who built your bowl? Like, I need someone like on that kind of level to build this thing that I'm building. And they hooked me up with the architect and the people that did that. And then I talked with them, and they were able to do all the engineering and
Okay.
everything that needed to take to make that happen.
Right.
I basically drew it on a napkin.
Well,
It was
because
like,
you
this is
are
the
doing
concept.
something that somebody has to skate. So it
Yeah.
has to be structurally
Yeah.
sound.
But the idea is that it's a beautiful form to look at if you don't have any skate, experience, or even your eye doesn't even look. A lot of people look at it, they don't see something to skate, right? We look at something, we see something to
Totally
skate.
different. Yeah.
So the idea is that it's, this art piece that's perfect for skating, just
love
like
it.
so many other things that we find that are rad to skate that weren't meant for skating.
I hope a lot of skaters went there and to see it, whoever was in that area at the time, because that's amazing.
And then on the other side, you can see in the background, I did just the frame of it. So on this side, it's reflecting out. And then on the other side, it's almost like the skeleton of it, where you can see the bones of it in a sense.
What are you talking about?
See on the other side of
Like
the
another
escalator, you can see the other circle.
Oh yeah. On the other side of the escalator.
Yeah.
I love how there's an X right there too. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, so when you look at it from the other side, it's almost this like vanishing point where you're looking through the framework, and then you're looking through the crosses, and then you're seeing a circle that's changing colors and glowing.
It's incredible.
I know this sounds weird, but is this what you visioned when going into it, or it turned out better than you thought?
Well, it's almost like the Maxfield was like a test, right?
Yeah.
For this like main huge one.
The Maxfield one I knew would be cool, but until you see the scale of something like that, it's just like, I was kind of blown away myself. I was like, holy shit, this is radder than I even thought. You know?
It exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, and then
right.
Chris Miller came and skated it with his kids.
Amazing.
Tony came and skated it.
Love that.
Yeah, and then this one, because of all the different parameters around how I had to build it, where I had to build it, I didn't want it to stick out, right? So I wanted it to almost disappear. It was very that Predator kind of thing of like how, especially because the space is so square. So if you put mirror all around it, it's just going to reflect all the railings,
Right.
and disappear. And so when the architect made the first rendering is when I was like, wow, this thing is going to be cool if it looks like this. And they were able to make it like that.
I love that. That is amazing.
Yeah. So that was fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So there's, a couple of other, I was trying to get one for the Tokyo Olympics, and I had the same architect help me out with that, and we made these renderings, and it started working its way up the Nike chain, and then COVID hit, and I think it was already kind of losing momentum. Maybe, I don't know if it would happen or not, but I had some really cool concept of different places we could have put this.
Well, LA is right around the corner.
Yeah, right.
Ah.
Yeah, but that was super fun.
That's amazing, dude. Congrats on that.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that in person, man. I think I would have shit my pants.
I want to put one out in nature somewhere where it just sits in a field.
You see those like
maybe out of like rammed earth or
glass
concrete
or the
something.
mirror
In the middle of,
houses
like, the
that
desert,
that
in Palm
disappear.
Springs.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. Damn. So is that the hatch at the bottom that you come up through? Oh wow.
And with more time, I don't like that you can see the speakers at the top and the light source. The idea is that it's just this one. It's almost like a blank slate.
Yeah.
Where you can't really tell where it starts and
invisible.
stops.
Right.
James Turrell is another big influence on this as well. So there's some talk that there's a couple of things that potentially might come from this that are still on the potential. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of integrate more of the sound and light bath experience, as well as having it be something that's a form that can be skatable, but really make it this immersive experience of light and sound.
What would be rad is like when nobody's skating it, have those immersive skateboard sounds coming from it.
Yeah.
Kind of
that
as
could be
its
cool
own
too.
sound bath type thing.
Totally.
Totally. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Because then you get this light show with this like the sounds of like skating. Because I mean, sometimes the skateboarder sounds just alone. The wheels, the bearings spinning.
Yeah.
The kick turning. The sounds amazing.
Tapping your tail.
Clicking the tail.
Clicking your tail.
Yep.
Incredible, man. Congrats on that, dude. Hopefully you can recreate it again, and I'd love to come and see it.
Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? Might have one up in Ojai somewhere in a field.
Okay.
Someday.
Do you want to touch on any of that Ojai stuff that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Before the show?
Yeah. I have this project that we're just still seeing about the funding for it. But at my son's school, they approached me about doing a pump track. And I suggested, instead of doing a pump track, they have this big grass field. They wanted me to do a pump track on a basketball court. And it just seemed kind of, I don't know, boring or just not something interesting. Yeah. And so I said, why don't they have this field that's almost the size of a polo field. And I said, why don't we take a quarter of it or maybe a third of it and create like a dry creek bed looks like it's filled in with clay. So it's this organic shaped play structure or field or scape that has rocks and native plants and trees where, you design it where form is more important than function in the sense for skate, that is, right? Like you're not making it so skate centric. Yeah. And you bring in all these different other modalities. So I have one son who has dyslexia and has different alternative ways of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching him work with some of the people that he's homeschooled as well. And I was watching the way he works with his OT specialist that he goes to, and there are different things that they would do to regulate his nervous system to get ready to learn. And it's one of these things is called vestibular learning. And it's like your inner ear systems that help with your balance and coordination and spatial relationship. And when you get that a little bit more calibrated and aligned, you're able to take in information or focus more, things like that. So with this project, on top of it being this skatable hardscape, you do very intentional type of apparatuses and play structures that bring in this play that is either spinning or bouncing or jumping or hanging or swinging that helps calibrate the nervous system, especially for like very, active or, hyper kids, especially boys that can't sit still or whatever.
Yeah, regulates them.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to regulate their nervous system so they can actually sit down or take in information. And so you do this on top of having this hardscape that's skatable.
Yeah.
And you have this nature piece where it's kind of like a horticulture, permaculture education where the kids are planning out the whole garden around this thing. And then they have to water it. You do a dry garden where the kids water each plant, and then they see what happens through the seasons and what pollinators come.
You were saying native plants.
Yeah, all native plants. Yeah, so eventually, once it gets established, it really doesn't need much water. And then connecting it to a biodynamic farm, which is done. It's a Rudolf Steiner approach of farming where you plant with the moon cycles. And so I was trying to find as many ways possible to stimulate and educate kids in an alternative way where they're connected to source and to the pulse of our, planet and the sun and the moon and these things, because we're just at a time now where AI is just coming in hot.
Sure.
And, especially if you have young kids, I mean, they don't know anything else, right? So how do we keep them connected to this primary, to reality, right?
Yeah.
Get their feet grounded, get their hands dirty, learn how to grow things, eat it, compost it, bring it back into the soil. There's horses there where you take the manure and you cultivate in the soil and create that regenerative soil piece. So there's just all these different ways to stimulate education through resiliency, and which is the skate piece and the thing that you build around it, and bringing in different ways of doing even math through on the topography, creating score lines or different things so kids can understand how tall something is, how far something is. A quarter of this mound is this or eighth is that. So they understand spatial relationship through actually doing it, running it, sliding on it, rolling on it. And so really giving this immersive, tactile, three-dimensional learning space where it's so much more than just a skate thing.
Yeah. Right. If you want to visualize it, if you're at home, it's like imagine like mounds and earth, and you just kind of pour concrete over it and let the concrete form to the mounds or the stuff like that. It's really cool.
And it's a bioswale too. So I did this equation. This is where I did use AI to kind of figure something out. But the 15,000 approximate square feet that we'd be taking from the grass area is about 750,000 gallons of water a year that it costs. Really? That it takes to water that much grass. Yeah. So on top of it, taking that away, it's actually collecting water, right? So it's basically a big, ditch bioswale thing that collects water, and then you capture the water and then you put it into tanks that you can then use to water the grass. To use for that as well.
That is insane.
You can use that budget for 2 years and accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Ideally this is a private school, and I think maybe it takes a private school to be able to put the funds up for something like this and to have the balls to try this new type of alternative way of educating and stimulating our kids. And then, ideally, I'd love to see, in public schools and parks and places like that.
That would be a great starting point.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed we can get all the funding for that and make that happen. And it's looking good.
So what was the budget for the pump track?
I know.
probably a third or a quarter of what that I've said we need, you know? So yeah, you know, we'll see. I think, you know, they're really excited about it. So, and so am I. I mean, I could talk about it for forever, but
what's a big, hey, can I get a pump track? You're like, no, I'll give you this though.
Well, no, I love the fact that like awesome. you took whatever that was and elevated it into a whole other thing that they weren't even on their radar. They weren't even thinking about.
Well, some of it is just watching my son and how he was learning. Some of it is like me thinking about, man, if I had this when I was a kid, I might have been way more into school too.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
1,000%.
I mean, I dropped out of school in the 10th grade. You know, and here I am potentially making a whole new curriculum for skating. Right. I mean, for education, just because I struggled, you know, and I'm seeing my son have his different ways of learning. So
the structure of school needs to change ASAP. This shit is not the business no more.
Yeah, the standardized way of putting our kids in boxes at certain ages and stuff like that. It's just, you know, you get 25 kids in a room. There's just so many variety of how they learn and where they're at, and how do you put them in a certain grade level or say like, you know, this is the standard where they're at. And then how do you, and then are you really like nurturing and getting the best out of each kid, you know? Where some kids are going to be like, I guess I'm not that good or I'm not that smart, but maybe you're really great at something else.
That kid's creative. Or
you know, so many of the most creative people are people that have those, you know, labels of things, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I think this just kind of opens up just so much more opportunity and different modalities for kids to learn. I mean, also, I'll just add one last thing to it is, you know, like things like the kids learning how to tell time with the sun. Learning how to tell cardinal directions with the sun. So you have like a sundial, and you do all these different things to connect them to source, right? Which I think they need more than anything now.
Oh, damn.
So
not only kids, adults too.
Yeah, all of us. You know, it's like look up and like how many of us look up and you know in the sky and when was the last time you seen a shooting star or you know really kind of get in touch with the angles of the sun throughout the year, you know, and things like that.
Nature.
Yeah, so getting kids connected to nature, and where I live in Ojai, it's such a perfect place for that.
Yeah, that's like a good stomping ground to like really get it started.
Yeah,
because it's the environment already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it can almost be what do you call that when you proof of concept?
Yeah,
up there. You know.
Yep.
Well, if you get something like that going, man, you got to bring up some pros and have demos. Do all that stuff. You get Scott skating barefoot in the. There, you know what I mean? No, I hope that all works out because I would love to see it. We got a little glimpse of. You know, before the show of what you were working on, it looks fucking incredible.
It really does.
It really does.
Yeah,
so.
I'm hoping it comes to fruition.
Oh man, I'm hoping too. I'm right there with you.
I mean, I'm hoping not for me, it's for kids that they can get something like that.
Totally.
Yeah, it's really not about me. This is just a way I can give back with just passions of mine.
It's the beginning of something great, bro.
Yeah. I mean, if you could build a box with a ramp in it, you know, you could build this easy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the funny thing. Like you know, sometimes I can't. You know, my wife's been asking me to do something for 2 years, and then I get a project in Paris, and I have 6 months to do it. And I'm able to like focus.
Weird how that works,
you know.
I love it, dude. I love it. But, well, congrats on everything. You know, all the design work, and you know, if we got a party, man, we'll get you as a DJ.
Yeah, sure. I'd come in and drop some music that ages me and puts me in it ages someone asked me about how do I DJ, and I was like, it lets you know how old I am, right? I mean, I'm not going to be playing you new music. Right. You need 90s or 80s music. Yeah, man. I'll kill it.
Those are some of the best, you know. That's when sampling was now they just create it with the drum machine, which is okay. Yeah. But man, the sampling of real music, that's I think what's missing for me in like hip hop these days is like, there's not that aspect of like
it's still there.
Maybe to us, but every hip hop that was coming out was like sampled from some
and the lyrics I thought were just more interesting back then on a whole. True, I mean, I think there's still some lyricists that are doing stuff I don't really keep up too much, so I couldn't really speak on it. But yeah, I mean, you had just
there's so many, dude.
So I mean, at that time it was so many.
Melting pot of just so many great like rappers. It's a lot, and a lot was coming from the East Coast. You know, and that's what it was.
Yeah. DITC,
digging in the crates.
Love that.
Diamond D.
Oh my God. I got
Pete
my
Rock, CL Smooth, Large Professor,
Sheep.
Brand
there's so
Nubian.
many.
I mean, we
So
could go
many.
on and on, and that all came in a real like
Short
5-year
period
window.
of time, yeah.
I got my Spotify playlist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know who does good sampling still to this day, and he's from this. I think he's from this area. Is Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Al.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
I've known
He's-
Alchemist since he used to be in a hip hop group with Scott Kahn
Yeah.
called the oh god, what are they called? Not the Hoodlums, but like something
The
like
Hooligans.
that. The Hooligans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I went to
Hooligans.
school with Scott Kahn. I mean, I went to school with Alan and
His brother?
No, with Evidence.
Okay. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I went to school with both
Yeah.
those dudes.
Well, Mike from Venice.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Is he still down here?
I think he is. I
Yeah.
haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah.
But
Is Al from this area?
Al's from
yeah,
Beverly Hills.
Yeah. They used to give
Yeah.
me rides home from school. That's the Colin McEwen I was talking about earlier. Yeah, in Malibu.
So crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff.
No, but he's
dude.
doing a phenomenal job right now as far as holding on to that, the sampling aspect. I mean, if you heard Freddie Gibbs' new album, you'll take a listen.
Okay.
The sampling
Okay.
thing.
I need to
Okay.
too because I'm sleeping on a lot of new music. These
Yeah,
days.
he's holding it right now. I gotta get it too. I give a round of applause for what he's doing right
Yeah,
now. For
yeah.
sure.
Enough respect.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been phenomenal, dude. You got to come back with
Yeah, for
with
sure.
somebody. I mean, just alone, but like you and Olson or somebody from the older
Maybe me and
days.
Dresden and Murray or Muriel
Oh
or
my
something
God,
like that.
That'd be
it'd be
super.
incredible, dude. But before you leave, can we give you some 9 Club things to take
course.
home? We got a couple presents
man.
for you, Kelly. We do the honors,
Yeah.
dude. If you
Yeah.
don't mind.
What size?
man.
What size T-shirt?
Large.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, you got to come back with somebody. It'd be amazing. Be
Yeah, I'd love
amazing.
to, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm honored and so stoked that you guys have
Oh,
me on.
dude,
Hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
First of all, dude, pleasure. Thank
Yeah,
you
sorry,
so
my hand's a little
much.
wet.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, Scott.
We got 9 Club hat, get sunny up there. You
Okay.
got to
Yeah.
protect when you're barefoot skating
Uh-huh.
around the bowl. Also stay hydrated. We got got the Yeti.
Okay. Yeah, definitely use that
This is a
for
collab
sure.
we did with them. They're one of our sponsors,
All right.
man.
Nice.
Those things will stay cold forever.
Uh-huh. Put that right there.
Also, Skull Candy, that's what we're using right here. But these are the Crusher Actives, you could rock these on the plane, wherever you want. They're really good. And that's
Okay.
for you. Take
All
that
right.
home with you. Sticker pack. Listen, the days of the Thrasher covers may be over, but we don't know. If we do, we do.
You got one before, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Do it
saying.
again.
And they might be over, but there could be a chance. But we do still give photo incentives like the good old days.
Uh-huh.
$20
Okay.
if you get the 9 Club sticker on the board right there. 9 Club shirt for you. Here you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there you go. Also, we do have our own hardware team. Who knew that you would be getting a sponsor after all these years? But you're on the team officially. Biggest team in skateboarding history, man. Everybody that's been on our show is on the team, whether
Nice.
they like it
So
or
when I
not.
need some new bolts, I give you a call.
Yeah, we give you 2 packs every year. Every
a
year.
year.
2 packs a year.
Well, I don't go through many more skateboards than that
There you
anyway.
go. There
so.
you go. Please keep us posted on everything that you're doing, especially with the stuff, the school stuff in Ojai. If
Yeah,
you get
man.
that going, we'll
Bro.
definitely tell our audience about it
Yeah.
too, and I'm sure they'd like to keep up with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for everything,
Yeah.
man.
Thank
Hell
you
yeah,
guys.
thank
man.
you.
This
Yeah.
has been great, dude.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, Scott Oster.
Yes.
Thank you.